looks alright to me. We'll just check it on the world of the YouTubes. Eventually, when it loads. And it is live. Awesome. Okay.
Wow.
Cool.
There it is.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's live stream. We're going to be taking a look at Chamber of Secrets PC. Of course, everyone's favourite Harry Potter. Sorry if you like another one, but this is the best. It is the best. We're going to be taking a look at that, and I will put this on in the background for you. So yeah, what we're going to do is similar to what we did last time, where we're just going to like wait for 10 minutes or so just to let people join the chat and things, so we have everyone here before we start. So in the meantime, enjoy the Forbidden Forest gameplay in the background while myself and Phil talk to each other and also interact with you guys. So yeah, also I will probably just add quickly here that I am really ill, so if I sound awful and forget things, don't blame me. It's all caused by the Deathly Hallows Part 1 last weekend. Alright. So, I guess, Phil, drinking as usual.
It's true.
Unacceptable, mate. Anyway, how is everyone doing? Is everyone doing alright today? I hope everyone is doing alright. Also,
has popcorn.
yeah. Also, if everyone is having like difficulty hearing the game or something, because I've got game audio on in the background right now, let me know. I'll turn it up a little bit. Should be alright though, I hope. Anyhow, oh yeah, also if you want to vote already for Rictusempra, then feel free to do so. I've put the voting bit up already. And I guess I should probably mention that if you are interested in joining my Discord, and I believe I've linked Phil's down below. If I haven't, then sorry, I forgot. But
Heck.
I will
not
do
that
so.
I really mind. Oh yeah.
Then, yeah.
Sort of.
It's linked. It's linked. Well, I hope his is linked. But
The channel's linked. That's good enough.
yeah. But yeah, my Discord is pinned in the comment in the chat. So if you're interested in joining my Discord, where we like effectively just have a chill community that talks mainly about rice pudding of all things. Harry Potter.
I haven't had rice pudding in like years.
Oh mate, everyone knows in my community it's all about rice pudding. Ever since.
What do you have your rice pudding with, or just by itself?
Usually raisins, but kind of mix it up every once in a while. Raisins is quite nice actually.
I think I always used to get like a flake, like a chocolate flake, and then like crumble that in, and that was always. That's probably like completely overloaded now, but far too sweet now probably. But
I'm quite soft for you. Sorry, I was just reading Justin's thing. It's probably because I can't speak as loud. There you go. Hopefully that'll make it a little louder. I don't want to make that too loud, but yeah. Let me know if that's okay or better. If it's not, then I'll turn it up a bit more. But yeah. Anyway, yes, I can't even remember what stream it was. I'm sure the chat will remind me what stream it was that I supposedly ate rice pudding in the first time. I can't honestly remember what it was. I think it might have been a PS1 game actually. But yeah, I just sort of sat there and ate some rice pudding. I don't usually eat on the stream, but I was just hungry and went, I want rice pudding. It's just sitting there staring at me. I was just like, no, I can't not eat this. So it's become an emoji in my Discord now, and it's like a really popular thing. What else is in the Discord? I mean, like, there's all manner of things. We even got a skull for Deathly Hallows, because everyone loves Deathly Hallows. Everyone knows.
People like what they like, you know.
I haven't really heard many people, although we did, to be fair, last stream on Saturday last weekend, we did get some people that actually liked Deathly Hallows, which surprised me.
I was going to say, that has to be a lie, surely.
It's rare, let's put it that way. It's rare. I've never had anyone go, it's a solid 10 out of 10. I'll never ever give it less.
I'm excited to play it eventually.
Oh.
Excited in that, obviously, just to see what it truly is like.
It's
Um,
it's bad. It's the best way to put it. It's bad.
the Forbidden Forest is good. I like the Forbidden Forest.
Mm.
Although this bit, yeah, actually I'm a little bit behind on the video, but like when you're like going back down for the second time and the Spongify's like just disappear,
Oh
that
yeah.
bit's always like,
If you can do it in time, then that's handy.
yeah.
So it's just I mean, we're not even rating this level today, but the
I know.
nostalgia is hitting me already. I mean, I play this a lot, but I'm still getting hit by nostalgia. This is such a fun level. That's why I picked it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I can see people are already talking about beans.
They can't help themselves. They just can't help themselves. There's a lot of beans, to be fair.
Sonic, Harry Potter, Deathly Hallows Part 1. Look, I want to make it clear. I need to make this clear to everyone that came to the last stream last weekend. I know you all were amazed that I played it. I'm amazed that I played it. And it is a torturous game to play, so that's why I have asked in the Discord, and I'll ask you all again here. Would you like me to actually carry on with the Deathly Hallows Part 1 for another stream? Or please say no. Or would you like me to not carry on with it? Because I'll be more than happy not to carry on with it. But yeah, no, if you guys do want to see it, then, you know, I'll make the sacrifice. But as I did state, I'm not going to play it constantly.
Roberto said he always crushed the spiders under the falling rocks here. I don't think I've ever even thought of doing that. That's just clever.
Crushed them.
Wow. Yeah, like, you know the rocks fall as you leave the
big
cave?
Spikes, yeah.
It would let the spiders walk through and then crush them. I've never even, like, considered that. That's amazing.
What even happens, Roberto? That's what
I don't know.
What happens?
They must just, like, clip out of existence, surely.
Hi,
I don't know.
Snowed bits of it. Wow. It's snowing over there, what do you know? It's raining, I think, here. Usual UK weather. We all love rain.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm just reading your comment. I'm catching up on the chat now. Just reading your comment about the popcorn one. I like it, Roberto. Console version is superior. Disgusting. How could you say such a thing? No, I respect if you enjoy the console version. Fair play. I don't know. Phil, you still haven't played the console one, have you?
I've played I played it of the second game. Yeah.
What chamber you
I'm
played?
I'm playing them in a weird order, but yeah. I had that's one of the ones I had when I was younger as well, actually. It was the console version of the second one, and I played it a few months ago, yeah.
What, the PS2 one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not the PS1.
It was yeah, I haven't played the PS1 one yet, but I thought the PS2 one was quite good actually. It was like there was a lot that they could have done better for sure. But I'm trying to remember now. Like, I don't know. Some of it definitely was wasted potential, but there's a lot good about it for sure. Absolutely. Like when you're playing it, you're not like, this is a rubbish game. You're kind of like, oh, this is good.
Yes. No, I think. Okay.
Could be better, obviously, but
people really think that I don't know why people come to this.
You hate it.
Everyone always says, like, whenever I talk about Chamber of Secrets PS2, everyone's like, you hate it. I'm like, well, if I hate it, I wouldn't have 100%ed it all for you.
That's so true.
Like, no, I don't hate it. I love the game. It's a great game, but everyone seems to think that I hate it because I love Prisoner PS2 more. But I mean, let's put it this way: I don't hate Chamber of Secrets PS2. I just think Prisoner was better.
Yeah.
That's just my general opinion. I think the other thing.
I haven't played the first one either yet on PS2, but apparently that one's quite good. Some people prefer that to
the
Chamber of Secrets
version.
PS2. Yeah.
It's okay. So I guess this is where I'm going to get a very interesting response from the chat. So PS2 Chamber of Secrets is a solid game, awesome game. I really enjoy it. I love playing it when I go back and play it, right? But it's missing a lot of stuff that really, in my opinion, should be there. Including Dobby doesn't even exist in the game. Lockhart seems to just vanish after the defense gets the dark arts lesson and just never reappears. Ron for some reason they cut out the whole section of his wand being broken, so what they did instead is they just had him stand in Moaning Myrtle's bathroom and not go down the whole entire drain system with Harry. But yeah, I don't know. The boss fight as well, in my opinion, like the end one with the basilisk, is not that great. It's okay.
I don't even remember.
It's the one with the sword. And
you have to like trace it, right?
Well,
or like you have to follow the symbol.
Yeah, you have to get the symbol on the bottom of his like throat bit, basically.
Yeah. Oh my god, that took me so long to work out what to do. I don't know why. I don't know why it took so long. I just had no idea what I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I prefer the PC one. It's just way more exciting. But yeah, it's good. Like, it's a really good game, but it has its problems. PS2 Philosopher's Stone is a solid game again, but I feel like...
Has it got the same kind of problems?
Not really, actually. It includes most of what's needed, but what it does seem to have, or at least from my perspective, maybe it's just because I have a game sort of design background looking at it, there's so much that I can constantly see while playing it that's just, okay, this is not finished, this is not finished, this is rushed, this is cut. Like, it really stands out to me, so, yeah, that's the problem I have with it. I mean, if you're playing it just for fun, you probably won't notice it, but yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Prisoner
Justin says you're still a bit soft, your voice in comparison to me.
Really? So. Alright, let's try that.
Speak up!
I can't speak up, I have a dead throat.
Aragog just having the Rictusempra symbol on the bottom. A bit on the nose, but... Especially seeing as you don't have to choose the spell. But... just a bit odd.
Anyway, hopefully that might be a bit better. If not, then, well, there's not a lot I can do. Is everyone else finding my voice soft as well, or is it just Justin? That would probably
Maybe I'm just really loud and annoying.
I might turn you down a little bit, to be fair, Phil. You were quite loud.
That's fair.
That's better, yeah. Right, I can always turn you up again.
Should we start soon?
I think, let's just wait for the boss fight of Aragog and then we'll start. Might as well, now that we're here.
Go on.
Nah, it's okay. See? Sonic thinks it's fine. Justin, are you just trying to annoy me? But yeah, Goblet is mirth for me. Goblet is a fantastic experience. What are you talking about? Everyone knows how much I love it. Yeah. Everyone knows how much I love it if you've seen my streams of it.
Also, like... all the little crispy spiders in the Chamber of Secrets PC game, when you stand on them. What a delicious sound.
It is nice.
It's so good.
Hey, see, even John agrees with me. Chamber of Secrets PS2 feels unpolished. See?
Yeah.
I mean, they're great games.
It's like... It's weird, because remembering back, I remember it... I mean, obviously that's the same with everything. When you remember back, you think it's better than it was. But I think it's definitely... I don't know, it's like... There's just bits where it's like, oh, well, there's a lot of repeated stuff, or just could be a bit better, you know, designed or optimized or whatever. Whereas I think it feels slightly less obvious with the PC versions for some reason. I don't know, like for the Chamber of Secrets.
I think the thing with the PC versions is they do, in my opinion, boss fights for the most part a lot better. They also tend to just kind of have this... I mean, it's just more wholesome compared to the console versions, in my view. Like, they're all good, don't get me wrong. It's just some are better than others.
Yeah.
I mean, not so much for Goblet, but yeah. Everyone knows
better
how
than
I
nothing.
Feel. Yeah, literally. Actually, no, it is better than Deathly Hallows. I'll give it that. I'll give it that. Yeah, no, I think for me, Goblet, the thing that annoys me the most about it is just the AI. It actually pisses me off.
There's nothing worse than someone supposedly being like on your side in a game that's controlled by AI and isn't able to do what it's supposed to do. That's just so annoying.
Shiver. Resi 5, everyone knows that. Right, let's... Oh, there's Filchy boy. Hello, Filch.
Filchy.
Oh, there's a gnome. Everyone loves gnomes. Okay, what I'm going to do for the first one here, we won't do this with all of them, by the way, guys. But for the first one here, I am going to include the arrow key, like symbol stuff for the spell, just so everyone is somewhat familiar with it again, because obviously, you know, some people might not remember it.
Yeah.
So I will include it for Rictusempra. Bear in mind, for people that haven't played this thoroughly, that this is present on all of the spell challenges. So Rictusempra, Scourge, Diffindo, and Spongify. So this is present on all of them. It's just I will not be showing this bit for all those other ones. Just so you're aware. All right, cool. So I guess we'll do a quick introduction here then, and then I'm going to let Phil be the one to start this off again today, like last time.
Goodness.
No pressure. No pressure. Right, so welcome to today's live stream, fully now. We've waited long enough, I think, so everyone that's here should be here. If anyone joins in, then, you know, we'll include them all. So, first things first. We're going to be rating every single PC challenge for Chamber of Secrets today. We're also going to be including some bonus stuff today as well. If you look down in the description of the live stream, not only do you have each category for what we're rating each challenge on, but you also have the list of all the challenges that we're going to be including in this. And I'm just going to briefly go over what we are including in today's video. So we're going to be going over the Rictusempra challenge, the Scourge challenge, the Diffindo challenge, the Spongify challenge, the Gold Wizard card challenge, which you get for getting all the silver wizard cards, the Beam bonus room, which we're including as sort of a time challenge thing. And then for bonus stuff afterwards, we're going to be basically giving a rating for one of these, but we'll get more into that when we get to it, and that's Duelling. Then we have the Gryffindor Common Room challenge that was cut from the final game but can still be played. And then we have the 2 demo builds, which some of you might not know about, but we'll get to those when we get to them. So those are all the things we're covering. Each one of these challenges is going to be coming underneath these different categories that we're going to be rating them on. So how useful is the challenge that you are playing? This can also include how useful basically the spell is itself outside of the challenge too, or whatever item I guess that you might need outside of the challenge. So how fun is the challenge? So is it entertaining to play? Is it not fun? You get the idea. How difficult is the challenge? So is it difficult to complete? Is it fairly simple to complete? You get the idea again, I'm sure. The visuals of the challenge, so how nice does it look? How dim does it look? Does it fit with the theme that the challenge is going for? And then also the audio, so that's like the music and the general ambience sound effects of the challenge as well. So there we go. Those are all the categories we're rating this stuff on. So I'm going to first of all let Phil introduce himself once again for today's stream, just for those of you who don't know who the hell he is, which I'm surprised if you don't know who he is. Then we'll get right on in with Phil starting off on Rictusempra. So take it away, Phil. Introduce yourself.
Hello, my name's Phil. My, I guess, YouTube name, whatever, is Phil of Glimmer. I mostly do sort of video reviews for old games that we used to play when we were young. And I've also been streaming some of these games. I do a lot of Harry Potter games. Slowly getting my way through all of them, all the different versions. Yeah, and I'd say Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets PC game is my favorite Harry Potter game. That basically summarizes that. So I guess we'll get on with
You ready
the
to get
reviewing
into
of
it?
the levels.
You ready to get into it? All right, I'll play it then.
Yeah.
Off you go, Phil.
Okay, so I guess also we'll just talk about the learning the spell bit, because that's like the thing. It's okay. I found the drawing of the last game more stressful. This is just like well, yeah, Guitar Hero, I guess, or something like that. So just tapping the arrow keys as it goes along. It's annoyingly not in time with the music as well, which was a missed opportunity. But it's okay. It's pretty easy. I think maybe when I was young I used to get some wrong, but not so much nowadays. And as far as I'm aware, they don't get more challenging with each spell. It's pretty much the same thing, just in a different shape. whereas at least the last one, the symbols you had to draw got a bit more confusing. But anyway, it is what it is. So, moving on to the actual Rictusempra challenge. Yeah, let's go through the categories. So, is it useful? Yes. So, as far as I'm sure we all know, the Rictusempra spell is used to stun the various creatures throughout the game, and in the lesson we're introduced to the fire crabs and the snails, which you use Rictusempra on both of those. So is it useful? Yeah, of course it is. It's good practice to practice on defeating these enemies because they appear throughout the rest of the game. Yeah, and what am I saying? Yeah, and the creatures don't stay dead in this game, which I think some of them did in the previous game. I can't remember, so yeah, good to practice. And there's also a nice bit of platforming in the level, which is always useful for the rest of the game. And there's also quite a lot of secrets to find as well, which is useful for like you know, sort of teaching you about how secrets work in this game. Is it difficult or challenging? I think it's reasonably. You've got the threat from the different creatures, the fire crabs especially seeing as that's the first enemy they show you, rather than the snails, which would seem like a bit more of an easy way of getting you into the swing of things, but whatever. So yeah, and the fire crabs do randomly appear sometimes. You've got some death pits, like there's that bit where you're sort of going down and you have to jump across and then go back up. And then the bit near the end with all of the what they called like the sort of wooden beams that come in and out of the wall, getting faster and faster. So some of it is certainly difficult, yeah. And I do think it's quite fun of a challenge, to be honest. There's a lot of optional or secret things, such as like if you put all the fire crabs in the holes or the snails in the holes, then you get access to certain chests and secret areas. The Lockhart sort of face head puzzle thing is a nice touch. I guess especially as it's also a fight between time, because obviously these lessons are the faster you complete them, the more points you get, and a fight between that and finding everything. And I have to say, the tower at the end is like, what a fantastic way of ending the level. Like, the stars at the top, you have to climb all the way up to get to it, but there's all these wooden beams coming out. Plus there's that secret in the pit as well, actually. I think that last room especially is very fun. In terms of the presentation, well, I have to say now, I'll just say it now, I think all of the lessons in this game mostly fit the spells. So for this one, for example, we've got quite a like aggressive spell, a quite fighty spell, and we're in this like old grey, what's the word? Kind of like a tower keep, you know, like a castle that we're trying to defend. It gives me that kind of vibe. So I think it definitely matches the spell. The appearance is I don't love it, but I think it's certainly very solid, and it's nice that it's not just like basic castle. Like, it is a lot more grey than normal. And the music adds quite a lot of tension as well, especially at the end when the music just keeps going and going as you're like getting up the tower. Yeah, that's basically most of my thoughts of this level, I think. Yeah.
Summed it all up perfectly. Okay, before I go over my thoughts, just wanted to say, if you haven't already done so, there goes my voice again, then please do vote. In fact, I'm going to move the mic right next to my face for this. We're doing something a little different today, because you haven't figured out I'm super ill. But yeah, so if you haven't voted already for this challenge in the chat of the live stream, please do go and vote. Also, please do leave your actual score, because obviously you can vote like, yeah, I think it's a good challenge and that, but we'd like to know what your actual score would be as well. So please do leave that down below, and Phil will keep an eye out for it. Also, I'm probably not going to talk quite as much today because my throat is literally dead. So just
take it easy.
Just like bear in mind that I might not go over every point that I normally would, but I'll do as much detail as I can. So right, let's go through it. And if you're wondering why my voice is super quiet today, it's because I have a dead voice. Right. Okay, so Rictusempra. I will quickly go over, like Phil did, the spell drawing bit. Personally, for me, I preferred the drawing. I know Phil said it was really difficult and sort of anxiety-inducing, which it is, but I do personally prefer it because it adds more challenge to the game, whereas just using arrow keys is quite simple. And if you're like me and you use the debug thing and you literally go behind the symbol and you can still do the arrow keys backwards, then yes, that's probably showing how easy it is. But you know, it's fine for what it is. It gets the point across, but there's no through in the fire of the flames, you know. Anyway, how useful is this challenge in general? The challenge, I think, is very useful. It teaches every like main aspect to what Rictusempra is going to basically do for the whole game. It's effectively like the Diffindo for this game. It's kind of actually a combination in some ways of Diffindo and Rictusempra being the most important spells in this game. With Diffindo obviously knocking over objects and that, but in this game you have Rictusempra now, which is the spell that's used instead for attacking creatures and things, which is kind of a nice little change up bit. So yeah, no, it definitely teaches you what you need to know, and it teaches you what main enemy types you'll be using it on for pretty much the entire game, which is fire crabs and snails, but use it on other things too. How fun is it? This is an interesting one, because in some ways, I guess I find the challenge somewhat interesting, but I wouldn't call it fun. I just find it somewhat interesting to somewhat play, but I would not say I'm having a fun time, I guess. But it's fine. It's fine for what it is. It's kind of like the startup thing, right, for the whole game. So I'm not expecting it to be really fun, but, you know, it's not terrible by any means. How difficult is it? It's not the hardest thing in the world, but I would say that when you have the added, in this game specifically, not in the others, timer to all these challenges, it definitely makes you feel a lot more on edge while playing all the challenges, because you kind of feel that urge to try and complete it as quickly as possible. You almost are being taught to become a speedrunner effectively in this game. It's great. Yeah, but you know, it definitely puts you on edge all the time, trying to get that best score and trying to make sure you get to go to the beam bonus room and not Malfoy. So yeah, it definitely can be a challenge for that reason. I will admit that the jumping puzzle in like the chasm bit is fairly challenging for people that aren't used to, you know, really difficult sort of jumping puzzles. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers the difficulty side. The other thing I do want to mention, which we're coming up to in the video, ironically enough right now, it's not difficult, but it's, I guess, challenging for a young person who doesn't know tons about how to do puzzles in games, is this section right here, where we have to basically move Lockhart's face onto different doors to try and open them up, which not only gives us beans in like the two little hidden rooms, but also gives us a challenge star. That can be quite challenging, I think, for people that don't know a lot about sort of small puzzles, I suppose, in games. So if you're quite young, I think you might find that a little bit challenging, but it's not too bad. Yeah, visual-wise, I think it's not exactly the most visually appealing challenge. It's very grey. There's a lot of grey in it, that's for sure. But I think the thing that really makes it stand out more in the end is actually Lockhart. He's not even in the challenge himself. It's just more that there's so much of Lockhart all around the challenge. There's statues of Lockhart, there's pictures of Lockhart. So, I don't know, it just really gives it a kind of tone of colour a little bit. It also gives you that kind of look at Lockhart as a character, which is someone who's really full of themselves, thinks they're the best. It's their challenge, you know, they were the only one that could have made this sort of challenge, so on. So that gives it some more colour. But otherwise, the grey theme, yeah, it's fine. It doesn't do anything specifically special, but I guess it fits with the theme of what the castle would probably look like inside. Although, to me, it always came across as more of a dungeon-looking theme rather than the main castle theme. Especially if you look at the rest of the game in general, like the main areas are quite bright. whereas the dungeon is very dark and has this kind of tone that we see in this challenge on the walls with the bricks and so on. So yeah, I don't know, it gives me a dungeon vibe really. Maybe this isn't the dungeons, I don't know. Audio wise, it definitely fits the theme of the challenge. It's nice that at certain points as well the audio gets a bit faster for certain situations. So for example, there's the bit where like you walk into a big room. In fact, I'll find it. You walk into a big room and here we go. So you walk into here basically, and then these two big giant gates fall down, and you get sort of a sense of mischief playing in the background, and then it kind of gets a little bit more active as you get further on. And then of course when you're going up the tower bit as well here, which Phil was talking about, just before you go in the room, you have that kind of, again, mystery theme playing in the background and things. But yeah, I think it kind of fits each area that it needs to, this music. But at the same time, it also has that theme that fits with a sort of timer almost, so you feel like it's quite a quick-paced situation that you're going through each time, which is nice. Otherwise, I think that pretty much covers what I wanted to say when it comes to Rictusempra. So yeah, I don't know if Phil agrees with all that.
I think I agree with most of it. Yeah. Yeah, basically, I'm trying to think. I agree it's a bit dungeony, to be honest. Yeah, rather than Hogwartsy, but I don't know, I guess that's just what they wanted to go with. Also, I completely forgot to mention the gnomes. Like, that's automatically 10 out of 10 challenge if there's gnomes in it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, what challenge could not get a 10 out of 10 if it has gnomes? Right. Okay, so we will go over what you guys have voted on it in a minute. Now it's time for us to vote on the Rictusempra challenge. So Phil, as you went first, you're the one that scores it first. Off you go.
Okay, I'm going to give it a very generous 8 out of 10. I don't know. To be fair, obviously I have a lot of nostalgia for it, but I just really like it. Yeah. I think it's a great first level. It's got difficult bits. It's got not difficult bits. And it's got Lockhart everywhere, and it has gnomes in it. So, yeah.
Fair enough. I love that. Just got to add at the end there. It has gnomes in it. Yeah, I guess. Well, I'm always really tied when it comes to giving this challenge a score. This is like the only one that I always get a sort of, is this the right thing to give it a proper challenge rating for or not? But I think I'm okay with this sort of rating. People might hate me for this, but I'm going to give it a whooping 6 out of 10.
Whoa.
Like I said earlier, it's more the fun factor, I think, for me with this one. Because I don't find it really fun. Like, in comparison to every other challenge in this game, I would easily say it's the worst out of the main 4. But at the same time, it's not really fun, but it's not really terrible. I don't know. I can't really give this one a high challenge rating. It just doesn't quite hit that sort of mark for me. So, even though it has gnomes in it, which we're looking at right now, it doesn't get a 10 out of 10. So yeah, I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. I think it's reasonable because it's not like a hateful rating in some ways. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if you think it's a solidly okay challenge, then that's a fair.
It's an okay challenge. It's just nothing special to me. But you know, at least you're being nice to it. So I can see how this stream's gonna go now. It's gonna be. Everyone's going to hate my views for this now. That's the last stream where everyone hates your views.
Honestly.
Oh, this will be fun. Also, everyone loved the fact that I talked about Lockhart adding colour to the challenge. I mean, you know, I'm not wrong. Feels weird having the mic this close to my face, but it needs to be. I'm trying not to like hit it when I turn and look at the chat. Anyway, just looking at some of the scores here. So Justin, Useful 8, fun 8, difficulty 9, 5 perfect starting difficulty, visuals 10. Blimey, that's very generous. For the scenario and the programming at the time, it's great. Yeah, fair enough. Audio 8. The movie music would have been better. Oh, that's a fair play, to be fair. But we all love the music in these Harry Potter games.
Yeah.
Nobody disses that.
That's the one thing they really did spend the budget on, for sure. And I'm glad they did, because it's really good.
It is, yeah. Hi said, like it better than the Flipendo challenge. Yep, I can agree with that. Probably, somewhat-ish.
I think I like it a lot more than the Flipendo challenge. I think it has more going for it. Well, all the levels in this, I think, just feel longer anyway, to be fair.
Well, they are longer.
Yeah.
I mean,
like, I don't know. Just feels like there's a lot more in it. It's literally, I think, if it didn't have Lockhart in it everywhere, I don't think I would have rated it as highly. I think just his character really makes it more fun for me, for sure. Yeah.
Wait, what was this? You still get the studio tour picture from me. I just need to find the other hard drive. You what now? Okay, I've missed some context, I think, to this one, Vicky. Oh, unless you're talking about me. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. I don't know, I'm half brain dead. What can I say? Right. Anyhow, I think, to be fair, people have given it a rating. And what have we got in the poll anyway? So we got 59% saying it's great. Fair enough.
59 saying great. Okay.
41% saying it's alright. That surprised me, actually. People are agreeing with me in the middle. We're in the middle.
Whoa.
And no one, absolutely no one, said awful stuff right there. So 0% on it being bad. So nobody thinks it's a bad challenge. That is a solid start for HP2.
Hey.
Congratulations, HP2. All right, awesome. So I'm going to end that poll now, and we're going to let Phil talk to you all a little bit quick while I set up the Scourge poll. Off you go, Phil.
If you had to have one of the pictures of Lockhart in your house, what would you have? Would it be that one, or would it be that one, or would it be that one? I think for me it would be the one of him facing away, because it's just too iconic. It just is. Like, who came up with that idea of using all these weird pictures of him? It's so good. It's so stupid.
Well, it fits his character.
It really does. It's just like, oh, you need to see every side of him. Honestly, that's just amazing. It's like they took what was in the books and the films and just turned it all the way up to 11. I don't know, it's just so funny.
Oops. Just put everything in caps. Alright, well that can stay in caps. Everyone's going to enjoy a bit of man in caps.
Now I'm like, should I actually print them out and put them in my house? I think that would be so funny. I'll get a statue as well.
Or one on the back of his head.
Oh yeah. I'll put that on my ceiling, and as I wake up, I just see it.
There are some really weird pictures in HP2. Like in the Grand Staircase, there's just there's one picture that's like a picture of a triangle with just a light in the middle of it, and that's it. It's like, what is this? Is it meant to be
it's the weird it's like the symbol, right? Yeah. It's kind of like Deathly Hallows.
It looks like Deathly Hallows. I'm like, are they just trying to tease that EA is going to destroy this franchise? Is this what it's going to look like, this bland, when we get to it? Maybe. Alright, the new poll should be up, guys.
There it is.
You got it? Alright. I apologise for man being in caps. I just couldn't be bothered to change it. So, there you go. Enjoy a gigantic man in caps. Alright, so, goodbye, Rictusempra. It was nice knowing you.
Bye.
So, everyone go and vote. vote away
crazy.
your lives. Oh, there he is. Lovely Flitwick. Vote away for what you think of the Scourge challenge. So basically say if you love it with Caps Man, or if you think it's alright, or if you hate the living hell out of it. And if you say you hate it, I will find you. But yeah, so vote away. What I will do is I'll get Phil for the time being just to keep an eye on the chat. So if you guys do put any ratings at all, do put your ratings, out of 10 for Scourge, then he will just basically talk about them when I'm done talking. And then
oh my god, I've just got the double meaning because Farhan said, "OMG, is it Scourge with a K?" I imagined it was like Scourge, as in like Seourge. I didn't even like think about it being like that meaning, but it makes so much sense. Wow.
Nah, it is Scourge with a K, believe it or not.
It is, but like obviously it's got that meaning of like.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Anyway, carry on.
To be fair, I've never thought of it like that. All right, so yeah, if you keep an eye on the chat, I'll go over what I think of the lovely, Scourge challenge. All right, here we go. So, Scourge. This is a very interesting challenge, isn't it, in some ways? Because how useful is the challenge? I mean, it definitely teaches you how to use Scourge. Scourge itself is used, for context, to remove ghosts' poo, effectively. So ghosts in Hogwarts basically fly around, take a dump on a doorway or something, and yeah, that's just kind of how you get rid of ghost poo. It's a weird one, really, context-wise. But yeah, how useful is it? It is useful. It teaches you how to obviously use Scourge in pretty much every situation I can possibly think of for the whole game, which is to remove the ectoplasmy stuff from ghosts that is all over doorways, different like levers, stuff like that you will see throughout the rest of the game. So yeah, it's a very useful challenge for that. The spell itself, it only has one use, which is to get rid of ectoplasm, which surprisingly enough is quite common throughout the whole of the game. So yeah, expect to see a lot of ghost poo everywhere. Weird stuff, man. Strange that you never see any ghost poo in Prisoner of Azkaban, but whatever. How fun is the challenge? I actually really find this challenge kind of fun. I know a lot of people probably wouldn't find this as much fun, but I think it is. I kind of like that it has this dark sort of atmosphere to it as well. It almost makes me feel like I'm in some kind of, a bit like Lumos did actually, a nighttime situation, but I don't know, just a bit more a place for ghosts to live. Yeah, it is a fun challenge though, in my opinion, and especially when you include the fact that Peeves himself is a whole entire boss fight in this, and he appears after the boss fight too. I mean, it's already a win. Everyone knows that I am obsessed with Peeves and think he is literally just the best thing ever made in Harry Potter, because he is. How could you not love Peeves? So yeah, I think definitely that boss fight alone makes this challenge quite fun. Something that Rictusempra doesn't have, of course, is a boss fight, and this one does have a boss fight. It's nice. How fun is the challenge, of course, other than that? I mean, it's interesting to go through each different room. Each room kind of has its own sort of unique design and feel to it that it's hard to describe, but it feels special each time you go into each room. You can easily define one room from another, something the Rictusempra doesn't do quite as well, in my opinion. How difficult is the challenge? It's again kind of similar to Rictusempra with regards to the timer, as the timer is of course something that always is looming over the player in this game in all these challenges, so you kind of want to get the best possible score and complete it as quickly as you can to get as many house points to beat Slytherin and get more time in the Beam bonus room. But yeah, other than that, I don't think it's that difficult. I guess you could say the Peeves boss fight might be slightly challenging for someone that's not expecting it the first time round, but that's about it. The other thing, actually, to be fair, that I almost forgot about is the pendulum swinging jump puzzle bit near the end of this challenge. That is actually quite challenging, to be fair, and especially if you don't time your jumps well, that can really screw you over. So yeah, that is quite difficult actually, to be fair. Right, visually, the visual look of this challenge is quite grey, of course, but it also has some very nice colours with the carpets around the place. Different statues also have some nice colour to them. The torches in this are really nice as well. I think the thing about this challenge is I'm more forgiving for this challenge being quite dark, because it fits the theme of the challenge. The challenge theme is really all about, this is a place where ghosts effectively come along to take a dump in the nicest possible way, and I guess kind of go to sleep every once in a while. And yeah, I think that the whole blue torch sort of adds that kind of ghostly feeling. I know like some people might not know it as well, but if people have ever seen the thing with like Disney's Hades, well, not Hades specifically, but like Hercules, where it's got Hades with the blue flame on him, it kind of gives you that feeling of underworld, which is kind of what this challenge is looking at, because obviously all these ghosts are dead, so it almost makes you feel like you're in the underworld a little bit. So I like the way that they kind of address that with the colour of the torches being blue. It's nice, rather than just your general, average, everyday coloured torch. Otherwise, it's nice that in places as well, they do have certain like bits of light coming into the different places. So there is some windows that actually make you feel like you're not completely trapped underground almost, but rather this is a dark area, but it still has some way of being present in the open world a bit more. And then the audio of the challenge, it's quite creepy, the audio, if you like. It fits the theme again with what the challenge is going for, which is what it should do. It's very creepy, in my opinion, having that theme in the background. And the nice thing about the audio here, which I really like, is the fact that you actually get those creepy sounds from ghosts and things in the background pretty much throughout the whole of the challenge. Really adds to the atmosphere throughout the whole of this challenge. I love it. And then again, once again, in certain situations where there's a lot of action going on, the audio increases from that dark tone to a more action-y tone. And then once you get past that bit, it goes back to the dark tone again. Fits the theme very well. So yeah, I think overall, that pretty much covers Scourge. Take it away, Phil.
Wow. Yes,
I need water.
I think I agree with most of what you said, but yeah, let's go through it. Yeah, so useful, you pretty much said it. It's not difficult to clear ectoplasm, but it does come up again, so I suppose it's useful. It's pretty easy of a challenge. Ectoplasm, even though it's dangerous, it's obviously pretty easy to avoid because it doesn't move. The creatures here are like, I guess similar to the last one, not too hard. Yeah, the most difficult bit is probably there's that bit with the like iron bridge that like swings. That bit's probably like the most challenging bit, to be honest. Is it fun or interesting? It's pretty fun, although some of it's obviously a lot more, I suppose, muted or like less. It's not as like exciting, which is obviously the whole point, because it's a more, it's not a frantic spell. It's not a, it's not it's not like a really action spell. It's more of like a just like clear things out of the way. I like the bit with the big gate where you sort of, it swings around and you go underground, and then it's like that bit's quite nice. That sort of puzzly bit. And I do like that you like revisit that central room a couple of times, because you like go in and then you go one way and then the gates change and you come in and you go the other way. I think that's quite a nice touch. And I think the best bit about this level, though, for sure, is the presentation. So the audio is like perfect. It's like creepy and spooky, very atmospheric. Especially because a lot of the music is just like sort of synths and then creepy laughs, which I think is really good. There's some like strings, some deep percussion. And visually, I also really like it. I think the colors are great. Matches it perfectly. Again, ectoplasm looks fun, and I do like the rooms in general. Like, there's the random bits of furniture and sort of like the wood. It kind of feels like they've just had to like find a sort of unused bit of Hogwarts, and they were like, "Oh, we'll just stick this challenge here," which I think it feels nice. It feels like it's actually got a story behind it in a way. Oh, and also the candles, where you're like, yeah, like going up the stairs where you've got the candles set in the walls. I think that's quite nice as well. So visually, I think it's a really nice challenge. If a little bit sort of slow as a challenge. Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, one thing I just wanted to quickly add in here because I forgot to mention it. The Cornish pixies in this challenge.
Oh yeah.
This is the one thing which I feel doesn't fit this challenge because you get introduced to the Cornish pixies, right? But you're then basically told, you know, you can use Rictusempra to kill them. And I was like, surely I should have been taught that in the previous challenge, you know, which is Rictusempra, right? So it almost felt to me whenever that happened in the past when I was young that they kind of just forgot to put that into Rictusempra and went, we need to do this quickly, let's just throw it in Scourge.
Yeah.
So
I guess they probably thought it was like more advanced than the other two, or they didn't want to like chuck in loads of creatures into one challenge, so they were like, oh, we'll just have to stick them in the next one. I mean, it works in terms of them being blue, I guess.
Yeah, true. But yeah, I think that was my only gripe that I had that I actually can't believe I forgot to even mention. So there you go. Right, so I guess as I went first, I get to rate it first this time. Woo! I get to rate the Scourge challenge first. Of all the challenges I could be rating first. Alright, so this might shock Phil and some viewers, but I give this a 8 out of 10.
Whoa.
And there's Peeves. Just to cheer up everyone. What about you, Phil? That's a real question. That's what I want to know right now. What are you giving this? I could be shocked.
I'm gonna give it a 7. I like it, but I don't love it. But the presentation, I think, enough. Really, like, I mean, the visuals and the audio are perfect for it. So that really does make it, like, if it didn't have that, I feel like it would be a little bit boring. But because it has that, it's still like pretty good.
By the way, I know you were waiting for me to like mention some bits afterwards. I normally would, but my throat's kidding me, so I'm not doing it. Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, I do agree with you, to be fair, and I agree with some of what other people have said as well, which I will go through in a minute. You're right that I do especially agree with what you say when it's slow, because it is quite a slow challenge. It moves slowly, but at the same time, that kind of fits the theme of what it is. So
yeah, absolutely. I think it. Yeah, I think it fits it perfectly. I think it's just not what I love the most. You know what I mean? Like, I think it fits Scourge perfectly. I just don't think that's quite what I really want. I think that's basically how I feel. Yeah.
No, that's fair enough. All right, so we've given our scores. So I will quickly, before I go over general scores that people give Scourge, we'll just quickly look at the poll here. Obviously, still keep voting. We'll still keep an eye on it. So, love it, man, in caps, man, by the way. 53%, so that's doing well. Middle ground, it's okay, man. 47%. And again, no one has said they hate it. This is already looking a lot better this game than Philosopher's Stone. As there were a fair amount of people that did say they didn't like certain challenges, in particular Alohomora. So, yeah, no, it's looking good so far. But from what I read of the chat, you know, we got some pretty different mixed ratings here, actually.
Yeah.
But most of them are quite good. So let me go back up to the top a little bit. I'll tell you what I am going to do just before it finishes. Let's go back. Oh, right to the Peeps fight. Alright. So let's see. First score. 11 out of 10. So Farron's being very generous to it. High gave it a 7.5 out of 10. Interesting. Roberto always goes all out with it. Usefulness 8, fun 10, difficulty 8, visuals 10, audio 10. So that's pretty promising. I like it. He understands me. Then we got, what else have we got? Score wise, 8.25 out of 10. Not bad.
Of how specific that is.
Yeah. Justin with a useful 5, fun 7, difficulty 6, visual 7, audio 8, and an overall 7 out of 10. Solid. See, most people are giving it a nice rating, Phil. Peeves might knock it up to 7.5 out of 10. To be honest, Peeves should make it an automatic 9 out of 10. Then we got John saying, I give it a 7 out of 10. It's okay, but I agree first time young players may have to fail this a few times. Fair enough. Spooky. Everyone loves spookiness. Oh, I see there's a comment that needs to show. I'll show that. If any of your comments, by the way, guys, do get blocked, then just message again in the chat. Either myself or Phil will see, and I'll let it come through if it's appropriate. Right, anything else? 8. Oh, Roberto's giving it a 10 out of 10. Love it. Blimey. Peeves out of 10. Flitwick out of 10. I like that, Phil. Flitwick out of 10. Flitwick's amazing, I'll have you know. Epic out of 10, alright. It's just getting out of hand. Getting a Star Wars meme now. It's getting out of hand. Now there are 2 of them. Right. Okay, so I think that pretty much covers Scourge. So I think we will end the poll there. And we'll be moving on to Diffindo. So once again, I'm going to pass you over to the man himself, Phil, to randomly ask you something.
Trying to think of something stupid. Okay. What creature would you rather have for a pet? Would you rather have a snail, a fire crab, a Cornish pixie, or a gnome? I think that's... Oh, and the imps as well are in this game, aren't they? Yeah. Which of those creatures would you have as a pet? People basically seem to already have the snails. They're just less dangerous, right? And less big.
Yes.
I think any of the other ones are a little bit probably too misbehaving or could literally set your house on fire by accident. So,
what, you don't want to see a house on fire by a snail?
actually, yeah, I guess the snail would set your house on fire as well.
Imagine the fire brigade with that. They'd just be like, "How did the house set on fire?" Well, I had this
Like,
snail.
oh, it was my giant fire snail.
I had a snail. It got out of its pen and sort of lit the house on fire. It's like, you what?
Oh, basically, most people are saying gnomes, which that makes sense, I guess.
Well, yeah. Why wouldn't you want a gnome that just runs around going shaking
Just let
its
it
arse?
loose in the garden for a bit.
Well, it'd be shaking its arse at you all the time, wouldn't it?
There's the spiders as well, but I guess most people wouldn't want them.
Oh, you wouldn't want a pet aragog with a
Keep it in a cage, it'll
Rictusempra
be
symbol.
fine.
Oh god, a Rictusempra symbol as well. What's that on the bottom of it? Well, there's this spell, right? Well, imagine if Voldemort in like the Philosopher's Stone just had a giant Diffindo symbol on him. It's just like, damn you, Potter! How the hell did you manage to know to defeat me? Oh dear. Right. Anyway, goodbye, Scourge. Right. It was nice knowing you. Okay, right. Let me get to the world of Diffindo. This is an extremely long challenge, so if we make it through the whole of this footage with us both talking, I'll be impressed. Anyway, so just so everyone knows, the poll is available for voting. You can now go and vote for your favourite challenge. No bias whatsoever. Diffindo. And yeah, other than that, I'm going to let the man himself once again take the reign on this one. So, Phil,
Cool.
Knock it away.
Diffindo. I'm just gonna say now I really like this challenge. I think it's really good. It's pretty useful, I guess, because Diffindo's used for a few different things. So not only have you got, you know, the random what they call like branchy things, ivy bits, that like the things that just cover doorways, but it's also used to behead the mushrooms and defeat bowtruckles. So it's used for a lot of things, and also you get a reasonably good practice of trying against all these things. Especially learning about how the mushrooms work, because I guess they work a bit differently, because you can either walk into them and they poison you, or you can cut them from afar and then throw the head, or you can, you know, release the gnomes and let them eat them. So it's good in that, you know, it's good to practice all these different things and learn about it. In terms of the difficulty, a lot of the new enemies are pretty vicious. Like the venomous tentacula are so snappy and horrible and creepy looking, and the bowtruckles are like really vicious. Like they just go for it. They just throw. They're like sticks at you, and they really hurt. And also a lot of the secrets are quite devious too. Like that one where you've got like the wooden platforms where you need to only do one of them so you can climb up it to then get into the, what is it, like a satyr, like to Alohomora on the satyr's head and get in the secret there. Like if you break them all, then you just can't get to the secret. So that's quite nice. And is it fun and interesting? I think it is, yeah. So I like the interaction between the mushrooms and the gnomes, and that it's not made explicit, but it's kind of like subtly hinted, like, oh, in the background there's a gnome behind a thing. What if you just cast the spell on that first instead of just going for the mushrooms? And I love the way that the star is literally right above you. Like, I think that's really nice, and like tying the whole thing together. And all of the plant puns that Professor Sprout says are all, you know, spot on. I'm trying to remember any where she's like, "Oh, Mr. Potter, plant your feet at the front of the class," that kind of thing. I think that's great. And also the way that you go down that bit, it's like the stairs to go down is kind of all bricks, and then you get to the chest and you open the chest and it's just Peeves. That's like the biggest like troll in the game. I think that's great. And in terms of the presentation, I think I love the theme of this level. Again, it's another one that matches it perfectly. It's a bit easier because obviously Diffindo is used against plants, so it makes sense that it's all plants. And it really does feel like just an extension of Professor Sprout's personality, with like gardening things everywhere, just like pots and watering cans and all that kind of thing. And there's a lot of variety, which is nice. You've got like the outdoors bits, you've got like some bits in the castle, you've got some bits that are kind of underground a little bit. Yeah, I just really like how it looks. It really reminds me of like, kind of like, it's almost like a National Trust property. It's kind of like a, I don't know what era that would be, but like newer than a castle. Just that like, yeah, that like reddy orange brick. I don't know. It's just, it gives me that vibe. And the bit where you go under the ground and it's all earthy, and there's the tree breaking through the castle, which I think is a really nice touch, like with the roots and the bowtruckle. And then the music as well is lovely and whimsical. It's kind of twisty like a vine, so that's perfect. And I do like that when you go inside a bit as well, the music changes a bit, which is nice to kind of like break up the level a bit. Yeah, I think that's most of my main thoughts on Diffindo.
Alright, awesome. I like the way you were talking about the Peeves troll, and there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess keep an eye on what people vote, really, and I'll go over some of my points for the world of Diffindo. Alright, so how useful is Diffindo as a challenge? So as a challenge, it teaches you pretty much almost everything you need to know. I say almost because it doesn't quite... how do I put it? It doesn't quite teach you everything you need to know when it comes to the Venomous Tentacular, in my opinion. While Sprout does like mention that you can cut off its heads, It doesn't really make it clear how you cut them off. So, like, if you're younger, especially, and I know this should come onto the difficulty section, but whatever, it's coming under here. It's more the fact that, like, basically you try and attack the venomous tentacular, and obviously if you attack them in the middle, it just stuns them. But if you look at them from the sides, usually, or if you like really aim low at the front of them, then you can cut their heads off, basically, and effectively murder them. But yeah, it's not really explained that well, that bit, in my opinion. You kind of need to figure that out yourself, which I'm not against, but I know that obviously difficulty-wise that would be a bit of an iffy one for people. But anyway, I thought I'd mention that here. But yeah, as it goes for usefulness of the challenge itself, it teaches you otherwise everything you need to know about Diffindo when it comes to using it throughout the rest of the game. And yeah, I guess Diffindo itself as a spell is actually quite a handy one in many situations, as for some reason in the school it seems to be impossible to be able to like get to any location, especially like the Slytherin Common Room in places too, without using the spell Diffindo. So don't know how those Slytherins were sleeping at night originally, but there you go. Same with Scourge actually for them too. Yeah, so I think it's a fairly useful challenge. It teaches you what you need to know in regards to Diffindo. How fun is the challenge? I actually find this one quite fun. It's just kind of a relaxing one to play, in my opinion. A lot of the others, I guess you could say they're not that extreme or anything, but they don't feel quite as relaxing as this, possibly because of the general theme and tone of the general challenge itself being rather outdoorsy and just quite nice to look at and be in. You always feel like you kind of want to be in each location pretty much in this, and I like that. You don't get that from many challenges. And I will add here as a comparison to the Incendio challenge from the Philosopher's Stone that this is a mild step up in basically the regards to fun side of the challenge. This is way more fun, and it really brings out a lot more of what Sprout was effectively trying to show, I feel like, from the developer's perspective in the first game. Because obviously the first game's Incendio challenge, you kind of have that theme of a greenhouse and everything, and it was trying to sort of show what Hogwarts would look like in a greenery place, but indoors and so on. Whereas this is more, yeah, let's just look at Hogwarts from in and outside, but rather more outside, more focused on that. But also from Sprout's general personality, where she is always in love with flowers and things all the time, right? So they just kind of went all out with that, and I like that. This is also the first challenge so far in this game that isn't spooky and really dark in atmosphere, but rather mixes up the tone a lot more, which I like. Obviously, I know Chamber in itself as a film and a game and so on is quite a dark one compared to most. So it's nice to have that mix of getting rid of a bit of the dark aspect every once in a while, just to cheer everyone up a bit. And yeah, I think Diffindo does a really good job of that. How difficult is the challenge? It's not that difficult. Again, same thing with the timer. I'm not going to repeat it all as the previous challenges. Otherwise, I think the only thing that otherwise makes it difficult is the spiky bushes. Now, obviously, they're not as big in this game like Philosopher's Stone, but they are a lot more active in this game, in my opinion, than Philosopher's Stone. So it's not like in Philosopher's Stone where you could go up to one, it would shoot at you, and then it takes a while before it shoots you again. In this game, they literally will keep shooting at you constantly, and they don't really take a pause. So yeah, that can be quite challenging, especially if you get a lot of them in one big clump together. The bow truckles, like Phil was saying earlier, they can be quite damaging when their little Wiggin-tree bark pieces hit you. They're also extremely aggressive, and also when they grab hold of you, if you get close enough to them, they do a ton of damage. So yeah, that's a bit rough. The venomous tentacular, I wouldn't say they make it really difficult, but in some ways, from what I said earlier, we're cutting off their heads. Unless you know what you're doing, then that can make it quite challenging. Otherwise, nothing else really stands out to me. Maybe some of the jumping puzzles could be considered a little challenging, but not that bad. Yeah, so I think that covers pretty much everything when it comes to the difficulty. The visual of the challenge, I kind of went over it a bit, but visually it looks really nice. This is easily the nicest looking challenge in the whole game. no doubt. And it really lifts the mood. It's something that I like about this. It lifts that kind of dark, horrifying mood of Chamber and kind of makes everyone, in my opinion, feel a little bit more just happy for a little bit. It's rare to feel happy in something like Chamber of Secrets, right? So it's nice to have that kind of mix just randomly in there in the game. It's nice. Yeah, so visually it looks nice, and I like the color and tone of the bricks and the grass going together. They fit very well. Audio wise, it's very peaceful. This has got to be like the most peaceful audio I think pretty much in the game, other than maybe something from outside elsewhere that I can't think of off the top of my head. But seriously, this is a really peaceful sounding music for like the whole of this challenge. I love it. Yeah, and I think that pretty much covers it for the audio, because there's not really a lot else to talk about. I won't cover things like the secrets and that because Phil's already talked about it. So yeah, there you go. I think that covers all of it.
Nice.
So, Phil, it's time for you to score Diffindo.
I think I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Because I really, really like it. I think it's not like perfect, but it like comes very close. Yeah. I really, really like it. I think it looks great. It's really good. Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, ironically enough, we actually share the same view on something for once.
Wow.
This is rare, isn't it? So yeah, I am also giving this challenge a 9 out of 10. You'll find it's very hard for me to give any challenge a 10 out of 10. There you go. It's a 9 out of 10, this challenge, definitely for me. I absolutely love its theme. And it's just a nice challenge to play, really. It's a good challenge. It's a really good challenge. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers all that. So let's just see what some of you guys have said, and I'm glad to see we didn't even make it really that much past the halfway point in the video for this challenge. So there you go. There's still loads of this challenge left to play, to be fair. It is a long challenge. Right. Let's first of all look at the general poll. So awesome is 77%. That's what I like to see. It's not bad is 23%. Fair enough. And again, 0 on No Way Man. No one has given it. It's a terrible. Chamber
I couldn't imagine anyone hating this challenge.
Oh, you'd be surprised. But no, seriously, Chamber.
It was interesting what you said about the spiky bushes, though. Actually, I forgot how horrible they are. Yeah.
They're way more aggressive in this game than in Philosopher's Stone. And maybe it's because they're not as fat in this game, I don't know, but it's insane, really, just to see how more aggressive they are. But yeah, it's interesting that so far for Chamber, not a single vote has been put on to the bad part for any of these challenges. So that just proves to me already right now how iconic each challenge is in this game.
Yeah.
So that's good. It's good.
They all have a really strong identity as well. They're all like really distinctive.
Yes, I do agree. I agree. So, let's just see. I hope people did actually write some general voting for what they think of it. Voting, some scores even for what they think of it. Let's see if they did or not.
Most people have. I don't think. I'm trying to find if anyone said less than a 8 in total. No, everyone loves it.
Oh wow. So high has got here 9 out of 10, fun 10 out of 10, audio 10 out of 10, difficulty 10 out of 10, interesting, and visuals 10 out of 10, overall a 9.5 out of 10. Well, fair enough. Then we got a general quote here of I just feel like this challenge is so elaborate. There is so much to do. That's a fair point, actually. There is a lot to do in this challenge. That's probably why it's so long. But yeah. Roboto, so useful 10, fun 10, difficulty 8, visuals 10, audio 10. This may be my favourite challenge of all 3 games. Ooh. with Scourge
Whoa.
coming very close behind. Interesting. That is interesting. Nobody knows what my most loved challenge is yet. Nobody knows what I will give a 10 out of 10. That's the beauty of all this. Nobody knows. Actually, come to think of it, would Phil ever give a 10 out of 10? What do you reckon?
I'll never say.
Do you reckon Phil will give a 10 out of 10, guys? What do you think?
I'm a Scrooge and I'll never give anything perfection.
This is where he gives the Pixie challenge a 10 out of 10.
Oh, that's obvious, obviously.
It's just like, it's so good. The well just looks so detailed. It's a 10
Like
out of 10.
it's so bad that it must have been on purpose, so therefore it's perfect, right? Like it was deliberately awful. Anyway,
It's deliberately awful. I'm not sure it was deliberately awful, but
I mean, it was supposed to be satire, right?
Oh god. Right, well, I guess that covers Diffindo then. So
Yeah.
let's end the poll, and once again, I'm gonna let Phil take the reins and talk to you
Ooh.
lot. Off you go.
Okay. If you had to have one plant from Chamber of Secrets game in your garden or in your house, I suppose, you know, just in your whatever, what would you choose? Probably not the spiky bushes. They would be a good burglar deterrent, but I think they would also get you completely impaled in spikes. The mushrooms, as long as you can chop the heads off from a distance, they probably taste delicious. Like the gnomes love them; they must taste good. Although gnomes probably eat everything, actually. What other plants are there? I wouldn't want a venomous tentacular. I think I'd rather die. I probably would die if I had one. It has multiple ways of killing and eating you. Like it has the big mouth in the middle and then all the other arms with mouths on as well. That's most of the plants, isn't it? I guess you've got Wigan tree, but
Trees. General trees.
like
But yeah, no, I think
not the
that's-
mandrake, says Justin. That makes sense.
Anyway, well, we actually made it to the end of the Diffindo challenge. Oh my god,
Hey.
we actually made it.
Oh, and it's like the bits at the side at the end here as well. It's just like the bits. It's bits like that where you could miss it, and then like have to redo the whole thing. Because there's that bit where you're inside and you have to go along that wooden beam with the rope, and it's so easy to obviously just cast that. So in that sense, a lot of the secrets are quite like difficult to find, or at least not. If you do the obvious way of playing the level, you will just miss them, which I think is quite nice.
I like that also, Farron saying, Alex, is it the Filch challenge you give a 10 out of 10? I mean, I'm not sure I'd call it a challenge, but that automatically gets pretty much a 10 out of 10 for me. It's fantastic, that in Philosopher's Stone. Who doesn't like sneaking around a library with an old man with a lantern going...
And a cat,
Well, and a cat, but more...
The cat that can't make it up the
can't
make it onto the bookshelf. Did it used to? It must have used to in the game, right? But just nowadays it can't.
It's a frame rate problem.
That makes sense.
If you have your frame rate too high, then it can still get up there, but it can sometimes just completely fail. It's funny though when you see the cat just walking into the bookcase forevermore. Then you just get like Phil sitting there going, Mrs. Norris, could have sworn I heard footsteps in here, and it's just like Mrs. Norris right next to him walking into a bookcase. Anyway. Oh, I do love that. Yes, the beauty of old games. Right, so right, hang on, I will just quickly look at this before I start. Alex, tell Phil about Filch even Chamber of Secrets PS1. What am I telling you about Chamber of Secrets PS1 Filch? I don't know. What am I telling you about Chamber of Secrets PS1 Filch? Something about him being stealthy, I think. But anyway, you'll find out.
Yeah.
Right. Did Alex give Filch 10 out of 10? I missed it. he gave it a somewhat 10 out of 10. There you go. Alright, so for everyone, just so you know, the poll is up for Spongify. So vote away and vote well. Vote well for Spongify. Be very careful what you vote for in this one. You might upset a lot of people otherwise. So let's go. Oh, and also make sure you put your scores again. Don't forget to put your scores. Right, let's go. Spongify. So how useful is the challenge? It teaches you absolutely everything you need to know about Spongify. Spongify is very much a fun spell in this game. It doesn't do anything else other than just a bit of fun. Obviously you can use it in order to get like secrets throughout the castle and so on, but again, it's kind of a fun way of getting the secrets, so it's really a fun spell. But yeah, it teaches you everything you need to know about Spongify. It's a jumping spell. What more do you need to know? Yeah. So it's a useful challenge in that regard. How fun is the challenge? This challenge is so much fun. Like, if anyone says that it's not a fun challenge, I'll be amazed. This is a great challenge. Loads of fun. Like, who doesn't like jumping around the place, looking crazy and things? Nah, it's really entertaining, this challenge. This is, again, kind of like a challenge that's just there for a bit of fun throughout the game in a light-hearted way. Something like Diffindo does, which is trying to give you a bit more of a positive vibe to Chamber for a bit. This also does exactly that. It's just like tons of people have been petrified, everyone's having a terrible time, and then Lockhart comes along and goes, let's all learn how to jump high. So, yeah, I mean, Spongify is very fun. How difficult is the challenge? I would actually say that this challenge has got some difficult bits in it, to be fair. It's not a simple challenge. There's like a whole bit again with a pendulum at one point where you have to time your jump very specifically, because if you get it wrong, you'll be whacked into like doom and Harry will fail to live throughout the rest of the series, and that's basically the end of Harry Potter as we knew it. And then that Pixie challenge won't exist, Phil. But there you go. Yeah, it's definitely got its challenging parts, and even some of the jumps themselves with Spongify can be quite difficult. There's like a section where some wooden platforms come out, and you have to sort of jump up to those in a specific way. That can be quite challenging, and I'd even argue and say that this challenge is probably, out of every single PC Harry Potter game there is in history, this has easily got some of the best hidden secrets of all time. One of them... One seriously well hidden secret that took me years to discover is where you basically like walk into a room, the floor goes down, and then some spiders come out. Now you could easily miss this, because why would you even think about this anyway? But basically, if you kill the spiders and then cast Pendulum on the two switches, but don't go in the holes where those Pendulum switches are, then you'll go back up to like the normal level, and that'll be that. But if you stay in the little holes where those switches are, there is an entire secret area basically underneath there where you can find some secrets and stuff. And again, that is extremely well hidden. It's not like most people are going to notice that. So yeah, I give this challenge some serious props for actually putting in some really good secrets. Like, they nailed it with the secrets in this. Solid stuff right there. And actually, I'd probably argue and say that a lot of the challenge and difficulty for this challenge is in the secrets and finding them all. So yeah, there you go. They did well with that. The visuals of the challenge, I mean, it looks nice to me. It's very bright. It is quite a bright challenge all round, actually. There's lots of windows around the place. There's a lot of lighting going on. It's a very happy theme, which fits with the theme of the spell, really, because it's a fun spell, right? The nice thing with this as well is, again, we haven't got the dark look like we had with Skurge and Rictusempra. We've rather got more of a look like we got with the Pendulum, actually, back on Philosopher's Stone, with the more bright bricks. But also this kind of, again, makes me feel like this challenge is more in the upper castle rather than the lower part of the castle, which is good. And as you are jumping in this, it kind of would make sense for the challenge to be up higher in the castle rather than down lower. So yeah, works well. Also, the red in this challenge, like we see here on the walls, really nice actually. And again, you obviously have stuff like Lockhart's pictures and his statues hiding around the place, which are just like they add to the fun, right? What more do you need? Audio. Audio is interesting because I think again it's fairly nice and fun audio in places, but the one thing I will say about this challenge is there are a few parts of the challenge where the audio either doesn't exist and there's just no audio at all, it's just quiet, and I'm not sure why they did that, because it's not like they're building up any potential like jump scare where you're about to be attacked or something. It's just quiet for no real reason. And then the other thing as well is it can be really active and so on, the music, when there's nothing really active actually happening. So like here, right, for example, where you're jumping around, it's active, okay? But then other times where you're just walking in a corridor or something, it's really active music all of a sudden. It's like, yeah, I don't know, it just doesn't really work here. But I think that's my only gripes with the music of this. Otherwise, it's good music, you know, I like the music. But yeah, it just doesn't quite fit perfectly. Anyhow, yeah, I think that covers pretty much everything I need to say. Oh no, hang on, actually, one other thing, the Imps. The Imps are terrible creatures in this game. I hate them with a passion. They are the worst creatures to deal with by far. And again, my other gripe with this is the Imps are taken out with something that is not related to the spell challenge itself, which kind of makes me feel like, okay, why are you again teaching me about Imps inside of a challenge that has nothing related to the spell to take them out with? I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it just feels like it's a bit of an odd one to have. But there you go, that does cover up all my points now. So yeah, I'll hand it over to Phil.
Oh, okay, let's go. Spongify, okay. I mean, to start off with, I was just going to say that I agree with most of what you said, to be fair. Is it useful? Yes, it's useful for practicing Spongify, and it does come up a fair bit in the game, especially in the forest. And I guess it takes a little bit of getting used to. Is it challenging or difficult? I would say the stakes are high in the tower section. Like, if you fall down, that's it. If you wait, actually, I have a question. If you fall down and survive, can you get back up? Because I remember one time falling down and not being able to get back up.
No.
You can't.
No, you just have to either kill yourself or quit and go into a save state, because the doors lock in certain areas, so you can't carry on.
Yeah, that's like
you're
one
not meant
floor.
to really actually, you know, obviously jump off the edge, and I'm sure they probably weren't actually thinking about that when developing it, in all honesty. That has happened to me before, actually, once, to be fair. So it's like you kind of get almost... It's like a sort of soft lock, actually, in some ways.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah.
I think they probably expect you to just die because it's so tall. But if you don't, like if you catch on something, but anyway, yeah. So the stakes are high in the tower section because you either die or you're stuck there for the rest of your life. The Imps are vicious. They're vicious little creatures, and even if you've knocked them out and carry them, you know they'll just bite you. So that's also quite a challenge, like dealing with them quick enough. And yeah, the pendulum bit, that's also pretty difficult. Like, there's a lot of difficult bits in this level, for sure. It's probably got the most difficult bits in the game so far, I guess. Or at least the parts that are difficult are quite challenging. Is this fun? Absolutely it is. It kind of feels like... It feels like a victory lap, almost. Like, they've gone through all of the like normal spells, and then here they're just like, just have fun with this, and you do, like, you really do have fun. I think what Peter said something very good. It was, this challenge felt so liberating the first time. It was like a reward the devs give you for getting this far, and I agree. It's really fun. It's probably the most exciting Harry Potter challenge. Jumping on the carpets is amazing. There's so many secrets. And yeah, like that secret button behind the completion star is like perfect, because you could just so miss that. And actually, I agree. A lot of the secrets took me like years to discover, for sure. And in terms of how it looks and sounds, I'd say yeah, the music definitely picks up in the bits where it needs to pick up, which is good. And while I would say it doesn't look anything special, it is very bright and uplifting, which I guess suits, you know, the spell. So again, it's another challenge where the looks do technically match the spell. I do like all the yellows and the reds. And also the fact it's going up a tall tower matches the spell perfectly as well. Plus all the pictures of Lockhart are obviously 10 out of 10. Yeah, that's basically like the extra bits I have to say. I think you did say most of it, to be fair, yeah.
Yeah, there's one of the secrets there actually, which most people wouldn't probably think about, is Hedwig.
Yeah.
Again, why would you think to cast out a Hamora on your own pet?
Actually, it was interesting what you were saying about the imps as well, because they are just randomly plonked in. But if anything, you'd think putting the Cornish pixies in this would make more sense, because you'd fly around like they do, whereas the imps would suit Scourge more, really.
Yeah.
But whatever.
No, I do agree. It is true that I think they kind of got certain things the wrong way around.
Yeah.
But there you go. Yeah, so now scoring this. This is where you have to be very careful. Your entire
2
career,
out of 10. No.
your entire career depends on this. No pressure, Phil. Right. Yeah. Anyway, you'll all be happy to know that despite my gripes with this challenge, like with its music and so on, I think it's definitely probably the most awesome challenge that we've had fun-wise in a Harry Potter game. But it doesn't quite reach a 10. It's not quite got there. Not quite. And it's mostly due to the fact that I have my little gripes like with the music and stuff like that. But otherwise, it gets a 9 out of 10. It's a solid challenge. It really is a solid challenge. They did really well actually making this. And I agree with what you said, that this is a challenge that rewards players for getting this far in the game. And it definitely feels that way.
Wow. This is when I have to give my score, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 10. 10.
Blimey.
I think it's pretty much got everything that I would want in a Harry Potter challenge. It's exciting, it's got difficult bits, it looks great, the music is intense, there's so many secrets. It's interesting though, because I would say I kind of prefer the Diffindo challenge, but I think this one is like the perfect Harry Potter challenge. I think even though I prefer Diffindo, this one is better, and I'm gonna give it a 10 because I think it's like perfect, I guess. Yeah, I don't think there's much I would change, to be honest. Yeah, 10 out of 10. There you go. There's your 10.
This is the first time we've had a 10 in the series from Phil. Now everyone's just waiting for me to give a 10. When's that going to happen? We'll never know. But anyway, yeah, I actually, in some ways, like, I could kind of agree with what you were saying there. Like, you know, Diffindo is an amazing challenge, but this challenge is just the perfect challenge. I agree. But at the same time, for me, I just can't really decide between the two of what would be better. I like them both. They're both
That's fair.
solid.
No, I agree. I was. It took me a while to decide, I think, but yeah, I just think this one is the best Harry Potter challenge. Yeah, there you go. That's it.
Cool. Well, there you go. You got our scores. One's a 10 out of 10. The first in the series, I might add. The first 10 out of 10. And it was Phil, not me.
I know.
And that's weird, coming off of Philosopher's Stone, where everyone hated Phil's votings.
Yeah, rubbish game. Not joking.
But yes, there you go. And then we got a 9 out of 10. So from both of us, it's looking pretty good there. So let's see what the polls have got.
Yeah.
So
I'm just gonna go and pee quickly, but I shall be back.
Go right ahead.
I'll let you go through the chat while I'm away.
It's all right. Go ahead. Right, so we've got top score, So Fun Man, in caps, I might add, just to make sure we get across how fun it is. 72%, that's what I'd like to see. We've got middle ground, it's not bad, 22%, fair play. We actually have got, for the first time in this stream, the first time, sucks, man. Whew. Someone actually hates this challenge and gave it a 5%, unless, to be honest, they're just doing it as a troll, which is fair enough. But either way, that's impressive. And I'm glad that people enjoy this. So I just want to see what some of you guys have generally said. Oh my god, there's a lot of stuff being said for Spongify, isn't there? Okay, so let's go back a bit here. Got to wait for Phil anyway. Oh yeah, I'll go back a little bit as well. Okay, right. So Barb said 6 out of 10. I love Spongify, but this challenge felt rushed to me, and I hate imps. That's interesting. Feels rushed to you. Maybe you'd like to expand on why you feel it's rushed, Barbs, if you haven't already done so. That'd be interesting to hear. Sonic said 10 for fun, 5 for usefulness. Yeah, fair play, fair play. I mean, again, the useful side of things, it's not a really useful spell or anything like that, no, but the challenge itself teaches you what you need to know about the spell, in my view, so there you go. Right, Roberto said usefulness 10, fun 10, difficulty 9, visuals 9, and audio 9. Love the challenge. It stands out from the others. The pacing is great and it feels like a good final to the challenges. Correct. I agree with this. It is good, and it is a good final challenge thing, really, to like all of them. So yeah, I agree with you there on Roberto's for that one. Right, Farron said 8 out of 10. Yeah, that's fair enough. John said, I really like this challenge. Great fun. 9 out of 10. Solid. Hidden secrets are very good. They are in this challenge. I mean, this picture here, for example, that's freaking incredible. Most people would never think of that, would they? They're actually really impressive secrets in this challenge. They really are. And it always feels rewarding in this challenge to me when you actually find some of these secrets. So I like that.
We're back.
Oh, there he is. He's back again. I'm still going through the chat. What else we got? I love how doing all these challenges allows you to unlock more areas in general Hogwarts. Yeah, I agree with that. High, that is nice. Very nice, actually, in this game. Right, what else have we got? Other scores. Oh, we've even got Farango. How did you find this secret, the portrait one? I jumped into it. That's how I found it.
I think with the portrait one where you walk through it, I mean, a few times I've played it, I've forgotten about it, and then I because obviously you hover your wand over everything, see if there's a secret. And
yeah, that's how I found it.
It's disappeared. I was like, maybe this moves or something, and then I think at some point just realised, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's how I found it.
Yeah.
Originally, as I was just waving my wand around at the portraits to see if one of them did something other than the one that does do something in there.
Yeah.
And then there was just nothing from my wand, because obviously if it's a solid object, then you will see the outline of your wand spell. If it's a see-through object, you won't. So yeah, then it was like, oh,
yeah,
well, this must be something. So then you jump into it and you went through it.
it does kind of go against some of the game's internal logic, I suppose, because it's that's the first time and only time that ever really happens. But I think it's still fun, obviously.
It is the only time that ever happens, actually.
Yeah.
But in some ways, I guess going against the logic is fine in this case, because it's the last challenge
magic.
And it's just fun. But yeah, so that's how I found that, by the way.
Oh yeah, what did people rate it on the poll?
Oh, so the poll was top score, so much fun, man. It is 74%. It's not bad, 21%, and sucks, man, 5%. So
someone hates it.
So yeah, the first person ever actually hates it, although I feel like it was a troll. But you never know. It could be the chat.
It was probably me by accident clicking.
Stop trolling, Phil.
No, it wasn't, I swear.
Right, anything else? Lockhart out of 10, alright. So that sorts that out. Cool, right. I think that's pretty good for Spongify then. So we
that's the main 4 over.
Yep, so we have the main spell challenges over now. So we're now going to move on to the I guess, extra challenges. So the next one is going to be the Gold Wizard Card Challenge. So I'm going to end this poll, and I'm going to let Phil, after coming back from his pee, do a little chat now with everyone else. So off you go, Phil.
Am I just saying random stuff?
Yes, you are.
Okay. If you could have a Spongify carpet somewhere in your like daily life, where would you have it? And why? I'm trying to think where I would have one. Probably at the bottom. I don't know. I don't have to go up that many stairs to get in. See, the moment I said it, I'm like, It'd be useful to have one to get up a couple of flights of stairs at uni, I guess. I don't know. The moment I said it, I was like, Actually, I don't think I would benefit from one at this point. Maybe if I lived up like, on the 7th floor of somewhere. But right now,
the 7th floor corridor is out of bounds. Except for those who have a Spongify dial. Alright.
If there was ever a useful one.
A very useful one, yeah, fair enough.
Everyone loves my t-shirt. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
Yeah, everyone's saying the bottom of their stairs. Anyway, okay. Gold Wizard Card Challenge.
Yep, so you're going first, aren't you, this time?
I am.
Right, well, what I'll quickly say before you do it is the voting poll is up now, guys. So go and vote away. And again, leave your scores for the Gold Wizard Card Challenge, even. Right, cool. I will hand you over to Phil. Go ahead, Phil.
Cool. Okay. I mean, obviously, we'll get this out of the way. Usefulness is kind of the opposite because you're using all your spells that you've learned so far. And I guess the only time... Oh, wait, you get it after you get all the silver cards. I can't remember if there's any silver cards in the final chamber. There must be, but I can't remember. So yeah, if anything, it's a test rather than useful, but whatever. Is it challenging or difficult? Not really. So, when I was young, I mean, I guess I'm now a little bit. It is timed and it's quite short, so that makes it stressful, and I suppose that makes it difficult. But actually, it's not really that challenging. That just makes it feel more challenging than it is. And nowadays, you can easily end with a lot of time still left. When I was young, I remember not making it to the end because some of it's a bit like tricky and tricksy. But I guess there's a few hidden ways of solving some of the parts, but it's not really difficult. It's not fun. The fact it exists is really fun, but I think the idea of it is more fun than the reality of it. Like, it's just a bit big and empty, and a lot of it you just fly across. Like, I love the idea of it, but in reality, not so much. And there's a good variety of like visuals, and a lot of the rooms are big and long, which does make it feel more special than the rest of the game. Which is good because it is special and it is different. I can't really remember much about the audio. I think it's just a bit of like, more of the same from what I remember. I can't really remember, but yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be like a kind of greatest hits of everything we've come across in the game so far, and it is, but yeah.
It is, but
that's it.
That's one way of describing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, alright. So, that all your points?
Mm-hmm.
No, okay. Alright, so here we go. The Gold Wizard Card Challenge. How useful is the challenge? I mean, it's not very useful, let's be real. It's, I guess, useful if you want extra cards. Really, the useful side of it is actually getting to be able to get to it in the first place. So that's by getting every single silver wizard card, which you get throughout the whole of the game. And of course, all the spells that you've learned help you gain those silver wizard cards. So Yeah, I guess that's the way that you can call it useful, but actually the challenge itself, gaining all the gold wizard cards here, is not useful. It's just more a bonus thing for people that want to look at some cool looking art on a card, I guess, and read up what they are all about. Otherwise, that's its only use. Right, how fun is the challenge? Well, this is an interesting one. In some ways, I do kind of find it somewhat fun because it's actually quite difficult, as Phil was saying earlier, with regards to the timer itself, but I'll get to that in the difficulty section. But I do find it quite fun anyway. It is a fair challenge to do this, and in some ways, learning all these spells that we had, like, you know, all of them, and actually putting use to them. And it's also including the spells I might add from Philosopher's Stone, like Flipendo and also Alhambra. So, yeah, it's not just the HP2 spells that are being used here. You're kind of making use of everything you've ever learned, pretty much, which is nice. So,
I've got a thermos of tea here. I'm just gonna. Don't mind me carrying.
Thermos of tea with Harry Potter, yeah, I see it. It's the wrong game, though, mate.
Oh!
Anyway, yes. Right, so how difficult is the challenge? I would say that this challenge is quite difficult in places. It definitely has its moments. What is nice though is obviously it's timed, but you can have certain sections like this bit here where instead of like running up all the staircases, which takes forever, you can just use Spongify tiles to get all the way to the end, which is great. I love that. Likewise, in other areas, you can like cast Diffindo on a rope or whatever to get you a Spongify tile, so you can just jump to the end of the room rather than going through fire crabs. So that's cool. Yeah, and I guess really it's somewhat challenging, but it's not mightily difficult. Then the visuals of the challenge. The challenge looks visually different in certain areas. I also like the fact that there is a whole entire area which is from Philosopher's Stone's Filch section, ironically enough, which you walk into it and the floor is there, you cast the Lumos, and then the floor disappears and you just have little Lumos sort of platforms to jump on all the way down. And that's basically sort of a nod back to the Philosopher's Stone Filch bit, where you have like a whole chasm area with the bridge, like the drawbridge bit, and you've got these little Lumos bits all the way up. They're actually in the exact same format and pattern as well, which is ironic. So, yeah, that's quite nice. Otherwise, is there much else to say about the visuals of the actual challenge itself? Not a lot, really. It's fine. It fits with like the upper castle theme again. The thing that really is visually appealing is what you're seeing right now. Which
Yeah,
is
I completely forgot. Yeah, the cards are great.
So this is really kind of your ultimate reward, which again is not useful, like in the useful section, but it is the ultimate reward here. And I'm going to go back to the beginning bit of it again because it is that awesome. And that's where you basically, every time you pick up one of these gold wizard cards, you then get a cool proper 3D like version of it, where you can then in a hallway walk up to each one and it has a visual effect to it. Like Bertie Bot one there, he laughs and then a load of beans fly out of the beanbag and so on. Then these other ones, each time you approach them, they have a different visual light effect usually and so on. And it just looks really cool and it's really nice. I actually kind of wish that this existed for the bronze and silver wizard cards as well. I think that would have been really nice if you could have had it for all of them rather than just the gold ones. But I understand that, you know, it's a lot of effort to make it.
Yeah.
But it would have been really cool. I would have liked that. I do also like the fact that if you don't collect all the gold wizard cards for whatever reason on your way through and you come back here, that obviously not all of them will appear. So then you have some that are visually appearing and so on, and you've got other ones with the tarpaulin things over them. Also, for people's information that don't know this, those little tarpaulin things actually go in a whole entire room just above this room with all these wizard cards here, which is quite cool. And then obviously before you collect the cards, all the cards are up in that room as well. So it basically just like switches them around in different rooms. Yeah, otherwise audio-wise, the audio within the challenge itself is quite fast-paced to fit with the theme of this challenge, which is a fast-paced theme. And then I guess the other audio is really this bit here, which is just the nice, what is it even called? It's like Day Wandering, I think, or something like that theme, which is just the general Harry Potter theme that you get in particular in the Prisoner of Azkaban on PC when you're outside. I think it's when you're outside. Or is it when you're inside? It might be when you're inside in the castle. It's just a nice, chilled out theme. And it's really nice. And it kind of feels nice to go from that fast-paced music that you get in the challenge to then some rather more chilled out music afterwards. It sort of takes away that whole panic-inducing feeling and puts it back down to a normal, I guess, low-paced feel where you can just feel relaxed and enjoy what you've managed to put your effort into to unlock, which is good. So yeah, I think that really sums up everything about this challenge. So Phil, my friend, it's time for you to give a score.
Yes. Woohoo! Get out the double digits and throw them away, because I'm giving it a 3.
3?
Yeah.
3. This is extreme. Everyone cancel Phil quickly. So yeah, alright, you're giving it a 3. Yeah. I think, as odd as it might sound, I'm going to be somewhat kind to this challenge just because of some of the difficulty in the music, I guess, and things like that. But also the visual effect of like the cards at the end. I always have a soft spot for that. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. I'm putting it in the middle ground.
That's fair, yeah.
Yeah,
the cards are good, to be fair.
I won't say that I hate it, but I also won't say that I love it, because I'm very much in the middle with this one.
Yeah. I think, for me, I'm just a bit disappointing, really. That's my biggest thing, is that it feels like it should be a really good final challenge. And maybe that's not what they intended. Maybe it was supposed to be just an easy little thing at the end, which is also fair, but I don't know. Yeah.
No, I understand from a perspective of it feels kind of lackluster after you've gone and got all those like silver wizard cards and so on to get this, which doesn't really reward you with an awful lot. So yeah, I can understand that feeling, because that is true. But you know, it's still reasonable in my eyes. It could be worse, to be fair. It could
That's
be
fair,
a lot worse. I mean, wait till you get later on in the series.
People in the chat are being a bit kinder. We've got 3 people have done 6.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, this is actually, hang on, while we're here, this is the section I was talking about, by the way, that's from Philosopher's Stone. See the Lumos section here? It's literally the same bit as Filch. So yeah, there you go. It's kind of cool that. I just like that nod to the past. I'm one for nostalgia, what can I say?
Yeah.
Right, anyway, let's see what some of these scores are then. 100%, I can't even speak. 100% agree with you, Phil. The idea of the challenge is awesome. Having to test all you know, yep, about the spells you learn again. But the challenge feels a bit rushed, which it is. I adore the animated gold cards, that's what I like to hear. That's what everyone loves, let's be honest.
Yeah.
That's the bit people care about. Orange lighting, don't lie. You love it, dearie me, Phil, how could you? Fantastic reward for collecting it. Fair enough. Would be cool to have a Spongify carpet at a live concert. So you can see over all the people. That'd be quite handy, yeah. Be great for mosh pits. You just jump up in the air and watch everyone else pile into one another and somewhat kill each other while you just get to see all the awesome action. What more do you need? I just like the satisfaction of viewing the cards later at the end. Yeah, thought so. So score-wise, what we got? 6 out of 10, 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10. Fair enough. Oh, and we got that person who came back again. Yes, I haven't seen you for a while. Yes, the famous you can kill Hagrid in this game. By the way, Yes says that in every single stream when he comes in. He said that in Quidditch World Cup. Didn't even realise Hagrid could fly a broom. So there you go. So 6 across the board is mainly the score here. And as for the poll itself, it's nice, 73%. It's fine, but nothing special, 27%. And awful, 0%. No one has actually said it's awful. That's interesting. That is interesting. What do you think? Are you surprised by that? You
No.
must be. Surely.
Sounds fair.
You're not surprised? I'm surprised.
Wait. Wait, if you got it on the thing, what was the numbers again?
So the numbers for the poll were 73%. It's nice. It's fine, but nothing special. 27% and awful. 0%.
Oh, it's that way around. Wait, for this?
Yeah, for this.
Oh.
No one said it's awful. I'm surprised.
Yeah. I guess it's nice. Yeah, I don't know.
It's nice. I don't know. It'll do. Yeah, that's fair enough. Okay, right. Well, in that case, that's the Gold Wizard card. I can't speak. The Gold Wizard card challenge even done. So now it's the Beam Bonus Room, which is going to be quite a quick one. So I'm going to create the poll. Phil, talk some random stuff again. Because you love doing that.
Trying to think. Trying to think about something to do with the Gold Wizard cards. If you could have one. No, this is I was gonna say if you could have like one celebrity or whatever that you'd want to be in a Gold Wizard card. But I don't know. I can't think of an answer myself. Don't know.
I don't know. He's run out of ideas. Well,
honestly.
Good news for you. I've created the poll, so it should be up there now. So you don't have to embarrass yourself anymore. All right. So, yeah, the poll was there. And I go first this time, don't I? Or was it me last time? I can't remember now.
This one was me first. Yeah,
that's right.
So it's you.
All right, cool. So I'll go first for this one. I don't really have a lot to say for this one, but anyway, just so everyone knows, the poll is up for Beam Bonus Room. So go and vote away, and again, leave your scores. Right. Beam Bonus Room, let's go. Also, I'm showing footage of the Beam Bonus Room after you completed Spongify. You'll understand why in a minute. So how useful is this? It's not a challenge, obviously, so how useful is it in general for just, I guess, overall? It's useful if you need beans. Let's put it that way. If you need beans to like buy things from like Friend George or Wizard Cards or whatever, yeah, it's quite handy, especially if you find it difficult to find other beans for whatever reason around Hogwarts, then, well, you got tons of them here. So, yeah, it is quite handy for that. But that's about it. There is no other useful side to it, really. Right, so how fun is it? I mean, if you have a sugar rush, it's probably really fun. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's really overwhelmingly entertaining, but it's definitely something somewhat light-hearted fun that you can have just for a little bit while you're going through a very dark, gloomy game. So yeah, I guess it's somewhat fun. There's nothing particularly groundbreaking though.
Yeah.
How difficult is the challenge? This can be quite difficult depending on how many house points you've actually obtained. So if you haven't obtained a lot, i.e. from doing challenges slowly or from not getting all the gold stars and stuff like that, then you get less house points, which means you get less time available within the Beam Bonus Room. So if you have less time, then it means it can be way more difficult to actually obtain a lot of beans. So yeah, it can be quite challenging like that. Of course, if you have obtained a lot of, house points for whatever reason, like Quidditch or doing the house challenges with a great record time and collecting all the stars, then you get plenty of time here and you can pretty much collect pretty much all the beans. Let's be real. The thing that's really nice about this challenge, which I don't really know where to honestly put this in this sort of like rating system, but this Beam Bonus Room is a room that basically allows the player to access more of it as you learn the spells. So if you haven't actually learned a lot of the spells, so like for example Rictusempra, right, you've only learned that spell, it means you only have access to the base part of this Beam Bonus Room. If you unlock Scourge, then it allows you to unlock the second area of the Beam Bonus Room, and then Diffindo, again, allows you to go back to the third part of the beam bonus room. And then finally, Spongify allows you to access all the airborne stuff, right, that you can't normally access. So that's quite nice that each time you go back to this beam bonus room after a challenge, there's something new for you to explore, which is a lot better than what I can say when it comes to the the Prisoner of Azkaban beam bonus room. So yeah, I like that addition, and that definitely gives a new lease of life, effectively, to the beam bonus room within this game. Good design, that. Good design. Yeah, visuals, it's nice. It looks really nice, the place where they got this beam bonus room. So, nice looking place outside. Good stuff. Audio, it's fun, fast-paced audio for a fun sort of thing that you can do in the game, and a fast-paced thing you have to do in the game in order to get all the beams. So yeah, there you go. I think those are all my points for it, really.
Nice. I'll see what I can add. I agree with most of that, to be honest. Yeah, usefulness. Useful if you need beans. It's good at testing your ability to think on your feet and move quickly. Not that you have to do that a lot in the rest of the game, but that's always sort of fun. And yeah, I guess the difficulty comes into how much time you've given yourself by how many points you have. But it can be a challenge, obviously, if you haven't got much time to get as many beans as possible. I would say it's pretty fun. Especially as the reward is a lot more tangible and direct, because obviously it's, you know, getting beans. One thing I wish they would have done, it would have been good if at the end of the year you got to do it again as like a kind of time trial. I think that would have been a really nice touch, to see how quickly can you get all the beans, or maybe they give you a set time and you have to try and get as many beans as possible as you can in that time. I think that would have been really nice, but you know, it is what it is. But I think your point of it's good that each time it's a bit different, because obviously you've learned more spells. Yeah, it's just a shame that it's difficult to learn the optimum route because you only get to do it the 4 times, as far as I remember. It's only those 4 times. And it would be nice if you got to go back and do it again. And yeah, presentation-wise, pretty much as you said, it's nice that it's nice and sunny and beautiful. Could be maybe a little bit more interesting, but I think it suits it perfectly. And yeah, the music is nice and whimsical again. But overall, it's a little bit, you know, you're just collecting beans. There's not a lot to it, but it is fun. Yeah, that's basically it.
So scoring it now. I'm going to score this a little bit differently from how I've scored all the others, just because it's the only way I can really score it. And I'm going to score the beam bonus room for each time you go into it. So Rictusempra wise, yes, I'm doing it a little differently. So Rictusempra wise, I'm scoring it basically a 2 out of 10 because it's very basic and you don't get to access much of it. Scourge, it gets a 4 out of 10 because again it adds more to it, which is nice. Diffindo, it gets a 6 out of 10. And then Spongify is basically staying at 6 out of 10 because again it doesn't add too much Spongify, but it at least is a bit more fun, I suppose. But that's basically the most that I'm going to give this. And it's in some ways quite forgiving to give it a 6 out of 10, but there you go. 6 out of 10.
Yeah. I'm just gonna give it 1 score. I'll give it a 5 because it's enjoyable, but there's not a lot to it. Yeah, that's it basically. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I thought I'd break it down a little bit, but obviously each
yeah,
one
actually,
of them goes into it.
I agree. The more spells you've got, it does become more interesting and more fun for sure. It's just a shame a lot of the Spongify ones. It just puts you in a cutscene. Would have been nice if you got a little bit more freedom. And actually, who was it in the chat? Someone said about it. They should have hidden a card in here. I think that's what they said anyway. Yeah, High IQ Warrior said, to be honest, Bertie Bot's card should have been in this challenge. I agree. That would have been a nice place to hide one.
No, I agree with that. That would have been really cool, actually. So yeah, definitely. Anyway, so what people have said for this. Why is this challenge so short? What people have said for this is, in the polls, cool, 93%. Fair enough. I think most people just consider it fine. And then 0% on all right. And then 7% on nah. So yeah. Someone hates it.
And it wasn't me.
Yeah, it wasn't you for once. Just this one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but otherwise, 5 out of 10 from Jason is a fair score from me. Yeah, fair enough. Oh, is that you? Sorry, you even. Because you gave it 5.
Yeah.
I gave it 6.
Yours probably averages to about, what did you say, 2 plus 2, 4, 6, 6.
Not 6, but more like 6 was Diffindo and kind of Spongify together in some ways.
Okay. Yeah, that's like an average about 4 or 5, so...
I kind of given it a 6 overall, but whatever.
Yeah.
That'll
At
do.
its best, it's a 6.
Yes, it won't go much higher than that, even if it tried. But yeah. 5 out of 10. And so we got first time round, 2 out of 10 for the first time round. Second time, 4 out of 10, same as me. And then after that, it's a 6 out of 10. What do you know? Sonic has the same idea I do. What can I say? We're both the same, I guess. Alright, so cool.
That's it.
That concludes the main part of this now. We've now done all the main stuff. So, what we're going on to next, which will excite everybody, I'm sure, is the bonus section. Now, the bonus section, we're going to be kind of voting it pretty much the same way. The only exception is this one part we're doing here, which is dueling. So dueling, we're still going to kind of rate it under the same system of like how useful it is, etc., etc. But we're not going to be giving it like an overall general score other than just for a bit of fun. So it's not like we're just going to go, yeah, we definitely think it's a, I don't know, 7 out of 10, right? We'll just say what we say about it and then afterwards go, yeah, I think if I had to give it a score, I'd give it 2 out of 10 or whatever, right?
Yeah, it feels a bit hard to give this one a solid number.
Yeah, so that's why I'm going to do that. But I am still going to put up a poll for people that just want to vote about it. Yeah, so we're going to talk about dueling. So I'm going to quickly hand over to Phil to just talk to you about beans while I put up a poll.
If you had to have... Okay. You were forced to eat a nasty Bertie Bott's every flavour bean flavour. What is your... What is your... Not your worst one, but your best worst one. If you had to eat a horrible tasting one, what would it be? So not what's your least favourite, but what's your not least favourite. So like it can't be one that's a food or a fruit or whatever. It has to be like a gross one. What would you not mind? What would you not mind eating?
Poo flavour. Blimey.
Poo flavour. I assume they didn't understand the
No.
question fully.
No.
I hope. I'm trying to think what I would have. Okay, so this is an interesting point. I don't know if I just read it online or if it's true, but someone made a point that Parmesan and vomit kind of taste the same, but you just know one of them's cheese. Because cheese is kind of gross, actually. So if you have the vomit flavored one, just pretend it's Parmesan. Just be like, oh, maybe difficult. I don't know. But actually, whenever I've thrown up, I've never been like Parmesan, so maybe not.
Can't say I've ever really thrown up and thought of cheese or something like that. But
people say the dirt or the pepper one. I don't think peppers. To be fair, I can't remember what the pepper bean tastes like, but pepper would be alright. It would just be a bit strong. Yeah, bogey's probably alright because like it's not going to taste awful. It's just going to be like a bit weird.
Mate, where's the chocolate frog bean? Come on now.
Chocolate frog bean. Yeah, like the grass one. I can't remember what that tastes like, but I can imagine it's probably actually not that bad, right?
Tastes like grass.
Like, it's fine. It just tastes a bit like a plant. A plant that, to be fair, you're not supposed to eat, but whatever.
Grass isn't going to hurt you. Well, unless it's got something bad in it, but otherwise it's not going to hurt you.
Yeah.
Think of it
Anyway,
this way: if it's got fertilizer on it, you're gonna grow.
that's so true.
All right.
Personal growth.
Yeah, literally. Okay, right. So dueling then. Phil's gonna take the lead on this one,
Okay.
and like I said earlier, Phil, it's more just talking about dueling overall here.
Yep.
You can compare it, of course, to the points down below, which I still recommend you do. You don't
Hmm.
have to in all cases, so you don't have to talk about the. Well, I guess you don't have to talk about how useful it is if you really don't want to, but you can.
I've got some. I think I've got some points for most of them.
Okay, and yeah, also obviously talking about the different spells in this too, and if you want, but you don't have to, you can give it an overall score at the end.
Okay.
So, with that being said, let's whack on the dueling.
Yeah. Okay. So, first of all, we have the dueling lesson, which is useful for learning how to duel, except they tell you what to do rather than like do the spells one at a time, which is a little bit not annoying because obviously it's not that difficult, but it feels like that's what it maybe should have been. Um, and while dueling doesn't obviously it doesn't come up in like the main game, which is a shame. But obviously there's the whole mini game side to it, which is good. I don't think it comes up in the game, right? I don't know. I wish it did actually. It would have been nice, but
Just with
I don't know. I guess
Malfoy, but that's all.
that's it, right? Yeah. It can be difficult when it increases in speed. Obviously, it can be a bit difficult to cast back. Oh, so you have the three spells, right? You have Rictusempra, right? Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Rictusempra, and then you've got the new spells, Expelliarmus, which in this case is like a reflecting spell, so you can hit back spells that are cast at you, and you end up having like a sort of tennis match with the other person. And then you also have Mimblewimble, which when you cast it, the opponent says the words wrong, and so they end up fluffing up their spells and not casting it properly, and they just like I think they just kind of get stunned a little bit. Mimblewimble is a nice idea of a spell. In dueling, it's completely redundant because you might as well just wait till they Rictusempra you, do Expelliarmus, do that until they lose. If anything, Mimblewimble just makes it last longer, which is a shame. Uh, I love the idea of Mimblewimble. It just doesn't really end up being as useful as it should be. But it's nice when they do successfully cast it on Harry, and he says stuff like "Expelliarmus" and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, is it that difficult? It can be a bit difficult, especially when it builds up. Is it fun? It's quite good. It's really nice that you get to choose the spell you cast and not just, get it automatically chosen for you as normal. Yeah, and then at some point in the future dueling rounds, there are obstacles and things, but until you get to the ones that move, the other ones again are kind of a bit redundant because it's so easy to just stand there and reflect the spell back. When I was younger, obviously I didn't do that, but like now that you know how to do it, there's not really much point moving around. And presentation-wise, obviously we have amazing performances from Lockhart and Snape as usual. The hall is nice, and I do like that they have the moon tiles from the film on the floor as well. I think that was a nice touch. And I think the music was pretty good from what I remember. I think it like matched dueling. Yeah, that's most of my thoughts.
Cool. I think, to be honest, you covered most of everything, really.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot else to say. I think the one thing I will mention that you didn't mention is it's quite nice that when you go through each of the duels, the arenas eventually start changing up a bit. So like
Yeah,
when you
that's a
said
nice touch.
you don't really need to move, which is true, but when you get to some of the later on ones, it actually can help to move around a bit. Especially like with the bookcases here, for example, or the big pillars that come out of the ground can be a right pain if you're trying to do a tennis match and you need to move around to whack the spell back a bit better. Stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's nice. Otherwise, briefly from my perspective, then, so how useful is the challenge? It teaches you, I guess, dueling, which you're never going to use at any other time in the game other than for dueling. So it's kind of pointless and not very useful at all. It doesn't, which I found a bit strange, it doesn't really teach you anything especially helpful for Rictusempra, which I thought was a little bit of a shame, because Rictusempra is obviously put in this, so you would have thought, maybe it's going to teach me something new that will be really helpful, but no, it teaches you nothing. So that's a shame. So it's not a very useful challenge. Is it fun? I would say it's quite fun, but I would only say it gets fun for me when you get to the later on stages. The earlier ones are quite repetitive and very boring. But when you get to like some of the obstacles being around in the duel, great stuff. Is it difficult? Yes, depending on your difficulty you set the game to. So if you're playing on an easy difficulty, it's so easy that it's just like a breeze. If you play this game on hard, this can be very brutal dueling at points. Because the opponents, if they do manage to hit you with something like Rictusempra, then they will cast immediately again afterwards. So you have to be really prepared to try and move out of the way very quickly after you've been stunned, or else you will die. So it does make a huge difference. And there was an example of this earlier on, actually. But yeah, it does make a difference. So it is difficult depending on your difficulty. So if you're playing on hard, this can be hard. And I do mean hard when you get especially to the later on stages. Like with the Slytherin student who has a really narrow sort of fighting, dueling arena. All that is a person standing on the rail. Yeah. So it does make a difference. But other than that, it's not that horrible to deal with. It's pretty reasonable. I think it's cool that spells like Expelliarmus, Rictusempra, and Nimblewimble are all available. It's just a shame that Rictusempra and Nimblewimble are completely pointless. And you might
it's such a shame that Nimblewimble is pointless.
It's just like you might as well not bother using them.
Yeah.
Just Expelliarmus is the way to go here. And even when they cast Nimblewimble, you just avoid them, because what's the point of reflecting that at them when it does nothing? I mean, you can do that and then quickly Rictusempra them, but again, there's no point. You might as well just, Expelliarmus Rictusempra in the end. So, unfortunately, it feels like an idea or a mechanic that was well thought through, but not fully executed correctly. So, that's a shame. And in some ways, I would have quite liked to have seen Nimblewimble outside of dueling. So you could, like, go up to the pigs or something and cast Nimblewimble. That would have been fun. But, it's not. And I think that's a little bit... It's just a missed opportunity, really. But I guess I like the fact that they exist, and it's cool that they are a thing. I just feel like they could have been so much more than they are. Visually, the hall looks great. It looks like a dueling arena. It feels like a dueling arena. And to be fair, the general halls look overall actually looks very nice. You've got all the cool torches and things. You've got the nice, as you were talking about, bits on the floor that are actually from the film again. Yep, which is nice. Even the fireplace next to Snape and Lockhart makes you feel like they really are the ones in charge of the dueling arena, right? Rather than just some student standing next to the fireplace, which is nice. So I like that too. I also have to add here, again, it's not in visuals, but I want to add it. It's nice that Snape is a complete arsehole in this to Harry, and just constantly with like a Hufflepuff will go, take him down, hit Potter. He just literally hates Harry so much in this. It's hilarious. And then whenever Harry's winning, he's just like, no, don't let him win.
I was going to say, I like how, because in the film, Lockhart's like, my assistant, Professor Snape, and then Snape doesn't really say anything, but in here, Snape just like chats back.
Yes.
And it's like, I'm not your assistant.
I am your colleague, not your assistant. But yes, I do like that. They gave Snape quite a personality in dueling, and I'd actually argue he has way more personality in dueling than the rest of the game. So that's quite nice, actually. Also, the beans are a nice reward if you just need some beans, which is kind of handy. It would have been nice if there was a better reward for doing every single duel, like a wizard card or something would have been cool to have at the end, rather than just more beans. But fair enough, I guess. They probably thought that people wouldn't be asked to go through every duel, which
it's true.
I mean, a lot of people don't want to, I'm sure. And then audio-wise, yeah, it's fine. I mean, there's nothing more to really say about it. It's fine. The Nimblewimble sound, to be fair, when you get hit by that or an enemy gets hit by Nimblewimble, makes a cool, funky, sort of like silly sound effect, which is nice. Other than that, yeah, I think that sums it up, really. So, yeah, what's your score, Phil, if you're giving one?
I think overall I'll give it like a 5-ish. I like it, but there's it's just been ruined by knowing that all you have to do is reflect back Rictusempra, really. Yeah, 5.
Yeah, you're being forgiving. I'm going to give it a score 2, but because the mechanics here are really, in my opinion, a bit broken.
Yeah, they are.
Kind of just not well thought out thoroughly, if you like, into actually making all the mechanics worthwhile even being there. It's almost like it was a pointless waste of time even making Mimblewimble and Rictusempra in the first place. So, I mean, on that regard alone, and also the fact that quite a lot of the earlier duels are just really pointless and the same, yeah, it gets a whooping 3 out of 10 from me.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm going to be brutal. So there you go.
That's fair, yeah.
Anyway, what other people have said score-wise in the poll is it's fun, 50%, it's not too bad, 50%, awful stuff, 0%. So we got a real 50-50 here.
Yeah.
That's interesting to see. John gave it a 4 out of 10. He's more kind than I am. So yeah. Any other scores? Yeah. Any other scores? Any other scores? No other scores. Okay, cool. Most people are just saying
I think
generally.
dueling is the kind of thing that I remember being better than it actually is. Like, I remember, like, when I was younger, it felt better than doing, because yeah, you're right, it's broken. Really, it's broken.
It is. Yes. Quickly then, just before switching over, I just want to show you the difference for this guy's duel. See how his arena's a lot more small. That's what I was getting at. Like, it's a thin arena, right? So that's why his is a bit more challenging on hard difficulty, because it's like super thin. But yeah, anyway, that covers dueling. So I'm going to end the poll on dueling. And the next thing we're going to be looking at is the Gryffindor Common Room challenge that was cut from the main game, but you can still access. And yeah, there's a lot of ways of accessing that, either through debug or through the thing that I put a guide up for on how to unlock the door. So yes, I think I linked that down below if you want to do that yourselves. If not, then I will do that at some point. Anyway, yeah, so Phil, talk to people about dueling quickly.
Who would you think, out of the Harry Potter characters, who would you think you wouldn't want to duel against? Who would be really tough? Besides, well, I guess the teachers would probably all be pretty good. Besides Lockhart, obviously. He doesn't know anything. Who would I not want to duel against? Like, who would be really good? I don't know. Bellatrix, yes, good one, actually. Any of them, they'd just kill you instantly, so there's no point. Dobby would probably be quite difficult to duel against, because Dobby seems to be super powerful for some reason. It's like, and then you just, go flying or whatever.
Just trying to think of a third option here. Oh, I'll put on some dueling again. Here you go, everyone.
Yeah, Dumbledore would be very difficult to duel against.
Spell challenge, bonus for challenge.
I don't know if Hermione would actually be very good at dueling. I can't remember from the books or the films if she's like, because obviously she's really clever and talented, but like actually fighting, I can't really remember. She's probably pretty good.
I would expect her to be somewhat decent.
Someone says a troll.
A troll, bonk. Hermione with a grudge. Sounds about right.
That's fair, yeah.
Alright, the new poll should be up now.
Wow.
Okay, we have something slightly different for this poll. Let me explain. Because you're going to need an explanation. Also, I will mute the beginning of this because I don't really want you all hearing my horrifying voice. Anyway, so yeah, this rating system again is going to be a tiny bit different here. Again, you can give this a score if you wish out of 10, by all means. However, the polls are not really asking you what you think of the challenge this time. They're asking you what you think the challenge was originally for. Why do you think this challenge was supposed to be in the game in the past? What was it meant to be used for? So I've given you some options there. Of course, if you think there is anything else that it might have been used for, comment it in the chat and we'll talk about it. But what we're going to be doing, Phil, as you already know, is comparing it against our general like categories, but also we're going to be sort of just generally going over what we think the challenge was for. So yeah, and of course rating it out of 10. So yeah, I guess I have to go first. This is fun. This makes a change. I'm going first for a cut level. All right. So, Gryffindor Common Room Challenge. This is a fun one, this, because of course this is a challenge that was kind of left unknown for everyone for years. And then eventually when people were sort of pissing about with the debug mode, they just so happened to find this by complete accident. Yeah, it was a real shock when people found this, actually. I remember it back in the day when people found this and everyone was like, whoa, what the hell? So, yeah. This challenge is... It's I remember talking about this actually with Phil, and I will put the audio back on now. Here you go. But it even has audio. But the challenge here, that it kind of felt to me like this was originally meant to be the Gold Wizard Card Challenge in some shape or form, that they kind of just chose not to do. If not a Gold Wizard Card Challenge, then a different card challenge. So it might have been, I don't know, for the silver wizard cards in general, or for the bronze, who knows. That's kind of what I felt like this challenge might have been going for, in particular with like loads of the different secrets that are inside of this challenge. But it could also have been potentially for just a bonus Fred and George challenge overall. So that would be something kind of similar to what we saw in Prisoner of Azkaban. When you collect all the cards, they just let you go to the beam bonus room and get some more cards, etc. That's kind of what I thought also this challenge might have been used for with Fred and George. They would just basically, if you got all the stuff in the game, give you a bonus challenge where you can get some other cool things as well. So yeah, those are the sort of possibilities, I guess. But what we do obviously know about this challenge is the fact that you do have all the spells being used in it, from my memory. So it was obviously meant to be a challenge for at the end of the game. Anyhow, I guess overall then, how useful is the challenge? Obviously, as it's not used properly in the final game, it's not useful. But if we're going to sort of rate it in a perspective of how useful it was when actually playing it and, you know, what you did, then yeah, I guess it was kind of useful if you were learning the different puzzle types that were in it, as these puzzle types might have been used in the final game. We don't know, but it might have been. It was also useful for learning all the spells even more than we already do. So again, if that was used in the final game, that would have helped. Yeah, and I think that pretty much covers how useful it is. How fun is it? I actually find this challenge really fun, and I remember definitely saying this to Phil in the past, that this, in my opinion, is a way more fun challenge than the actual Gold Wizard Card Challenge that you get in the final game. In fact, I would have rather have had this challenge that was cut than the Gold Wizard Card Challenge. So, yeah. I would say this is actually a lot of fun. It's just kind of got that... I think it's also the fact that we have the music as well, which I'll get on to from like the PS2 version of... what even was it? It was like Gambit's Joke Shop or whatever from PS2 version of Diagon Alley with Fred and George. So that was added in there, which was quite fun. And it just makes this challenge feel like kind of light-hearted fun again, which is good. But yeah, it is fun to just go around and do everything in. Difficulty-wise, I would say the only bit that could be challenging in this is really the very, very end bit. which is where you get like a ton of fire crabs in one room, which is kind of insane. It's like Dumbledore almost in Philosopher's Stone going, bear in mind there's a lot of dangerous things on the third floor. But in the case of this one, it's, bear in mind there's a lot of dangerous things on the seventh floor. A crap ton of fire crabs that I couldn't be asked to put anywhere else. So, yeah, I mean, that bit at the end is quite challenging. And especially if you're not expecting it, then, yeah, not nice. But they can also creep up on you around, like, the bookcases in that section too. So that's kind of rough. Visually, it looks fine. It looks like a upper area of a castle. And, yeah, I mean, the nice thing, which we're in this section here right now, actually, is they even have some beams in this area, because of course the seventh floor is the top floor of the castle. So it's kind of cool to see that there's actually some beams here that you can climb on, which are never used in the final game, which I thought was a shame, because actually I quite like the fact that these beams exist. They look cool. So yeah, it's nice to have that here, and it really gives you that impression that you are almost in the attic kind of of the castle now, which is good. So yeah, fits well with where you are located within the castle. So I like that. Although I guess in some cases the Gryffindor Common Room is technically speaking not on the seventh floor in this game, but well, we'll look over that because I'm sure this was created in the past with the Common Room originally being on the seventh floor of the actual castle. But whatever, we'll look over it a little bit. Audio wise, like I said earlier, it's got the Gambit and Jakes or something like that. Audio from the PS2 version, which is just fun, silly kind of music, which is just quite nice here. I like the theme. It's fun. What can I say? It's fun. So yeah, I think that sums up pretty much this challenge in a nutshell. So I'll hand it over to you, Phil.
Nice. I agree with most of what you said, to be honest. See what I can add. Some of it's a bit challenging, especially the beams bit, which actually I thought is an interesting point. That obviously it's supposed to be in the top floor of the castle, and that's where you would find like the attic bit, so that makes sense. And all those fire crabs at the end and all those gnomes. It's pretty dangerous. I think it's pretty fun. The idea, again, the fact that it exists at all is crazy. I think if we imagine it was in the context of the game, say if it was timed or something, I think it would be a bit more fun, because obviously right now it's just like a level that's just there. It's nice that it's not completely linear. Like there's a few side paths. I mean, it's mostly linear, obviously, but there's like a few bits where you can go off, or there's like multiple rooms. I think it's okay. It's just like pretty standard castle. Some of it looks a bit empty or unpolished. Like the bit near the end with the books and everything is great. Some of the bit a bit earlier on is a little bit plain. But then obviously, it's probably not technically completely finished. But what would it have been used for? I think originally I would have said it's kind of like what the gold card challenge should be. But the fact we've got that music and it's in the Gryffindor Common Room suggests maybe if you've got a certain number of beans, you get to unlock it, because beans are used a fair bit in the game. Like you can buy the stuff for Fred and George, you can buy cards that you've missed, you can buy the potions ingredients, but like you're stuck with a lot of beans at the end of the game, from what I remember, or at least there are a lot of beans. And this feels like if you say you could, I don't know, buy entrance to this level or whatever, I think that would have probably been a nice way of tying it into Fred and George. I think, that's an idea anyway. Yeah, but overall, I think it's good. Yeah, it's maybe like a tiny bit unpolished, but it's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not finished, to be fair, so I'm not really rating it in a way that it's polished, because I know it's not.
No, of course.
But yeah, I'm being somewhat fair to this challenge a little bit here. So I guess score-wise, obviously it's hard to give this level a score comparing it to the rest of the game, as it's not a finished level, first of all, and also it's technically speaking not actually in the final game, kind of.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can't really score it against the rest of the game, but scoring it on its own from what I experienced playing it and so on, I really enjoyed it. So, yeah, actually for me, I would give it a whooping good old 7, actually. I really like this. A 7 out of 10. I enjoyed this level.
Yeah, I've given it like a 7 as well. Yeah,
And
pretty much the same.
yeah, I think it's for me, the only thing I could compare it to really is something similar to the Gold Wizard Card Challenge, as this feels like a bonus challenge, right?
Yeah.
So it was the only thing I could compare it to, and I do prefer this challenge to the Gold Wizard Card Challenge. In all honesty, I do think that this is more fun. I don't know if you're the same way, but I definitely am.
It's more fun for sure. It's just like, yeah, it would be nice to see what it actually fully would have been like at the end.
Well, anyway, if there's a dev out there who helped make this level, please make yourself known and tell us what the hell this was actually for. It would be nice to know the actual purpose of this level originally. So, yeah, well, anyway, I think that covers this level. I'm going to quickly just have a look and see what people in the chat have said about this level. So, poll-wise, so 11% think it's a spell challenge. Fair enough. Maybe this was the Mimble Wimble challenge, hey Phil?
The Mimble Wimble challenge.
89%, alright, 90% now think it's a bonus fun challenge. And then nobody thinks it's a wizard card challenge. Interesting. I mean, to be fair, yeah. In some ways, I'm not sure if it would have been a wizard card or a bonus challenge or what, really. It's hard to say, but yeah. It's probably more in that category. But you never know. Could have been a Mimble Wimble challenge, eh? Yeah. So, I mean, the only other thing I think it could have potentially been, but it would have been odd that it's in the Gryffindor Common Room, is there are obviously a lot of cut spells from this game. So it might have been potentially a challenge that was related to those cut spells, but
true, yeah.
I don't know for sure, and it's also odd that it's in the Gryffindor Common Room, like I said, so I don't know, but maybe. Anyway, what do people think? I could see it being a reward for collecting a certain number of beans. Yep, definitely. By giving players more beans. Crazy Cho Chang. That's what this challenge is for. She's got a crazy Cho Chang in it. Let's see. I think that the idea behind it might have been as a final end of year challenge. Yeah, probably. Oh dear. I think you probably would have gotten the house points for this one, maybe. Find it much more like the gold card level regarding the look and feel of the challenge, yeah.
I'd say the level doesn't feel special enough to be the gold card challenge. Like the gold card challenge does feel more exciting in that respect. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so 6 out of 10. The end bit with the library looks nicely designed and comfy, besides the fire crabs. Honestly, it could have been just fun. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, okay. I think that sums it up pretty well, to be honest. Cool. Well, that's the Gryffindor challenge then. Now we have the extra bonus challenges. I'm calling them challenges because they technically are challenges. But these were never meant to be in the final game, just so everyone knows this. These were always meant for E3, which is a massive gaming event, if you guys don't know what that is. So these are the demos that were showcased within E3.
Exciting.
This is basically where developers, I say, did. I mean, they don't really do it anymore, but they used to create very special levels usually for their games that were never going to be in the final games. That would allow you to somewhat experience what the game was going to be like on the final release of the full product. So that's what these levels are. If you're wondering why you've never seen them before, this is because they are bonus things that are outside of the main game. You can download these if you want and play them for yourselves. Obviously, they shouldn't be out in the open, but whatever, they are. So, yeah, there you go. Anyway, we will, I guess, dive into this. And even if... Actually, no, I went first last time, didn't I? So, yeah, Phil's going to go first this time. I'm not actually going to put up polls for these ones, guys. Instead, I'm just going to ask you to give me your ratings out of 10 for these. So just put your rating out of 10 for these bonus demo, if you like, E3 demo levels. And yeah, otherwise, myself and Phil will still be comparing these to the normal categories that we have been, and we will be giving it a score out of 10. So, other than that,
Yeah.
cool. Let's dive into the first demo. Off you go, Phil.
Ooh. I think both of the demos are both pretty good at teaching you like some of the basic spells and enemies, which I guess is kind of the point of a demo, like to show off some of the things in the game, obviously. So I played through them both earlier actually, just to like get a refresher. And I think they do a like nice little tutorial at the beginning. You learn Rictusempra. I think you're already kind of supposed to know Flipendo and Alohomora or whatever. I wouldn't say the first one is necessarily difficult, but there are a fair amount of enemies, a few bits where you're a bit high up, but it's quite straightforward. And it's pretty fun. Like, there's 8 secrets in the first one. There's loads of Lockhart, which is always good. Plus Spongify, putting Spongify in. What a like fantastic thing to show off, because it's literally the most fun spell. Yeah, the first one's quite nice. I'd say it's all a bit samey in terms of like the visuals, because it's kind of all inside that like classic internal Chamber of Secrets PC game Hogwarts. There's a few like different moments of like the visuals changing, but it's all pretty standard. Nothing really to complain about, and the music is nice and varied too. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's good. I like it.
Cool. Well, there you go. That's Phil's opinion of the first demo. So yeah, I think overall for how useful this demo is, it's useful in regards to teaching the player everything pretty much that's important for the final release of the game. Which it does. It teaches you everything that you're pretty much going to see in the final build of the game. You know, you're taught Rictusempra here, I think. You're taught Pendulum, you're taught Alohomora. You even, like you said, get to use Spongify, which is like the fun spell of the game, right? So they're allowing people to see that that was going to be in the final game, and, you know, people are going to at least experience something entertaining in the final game. They're teaching you how the beans can be collected as secrets. They teach you about secret areas in general. They even give you wizard cards to pick up in this.
Yeah.
So, you know, they go all out. And for the general look and presentation as well for this demo, it's really going for as much of the final game's look as it can that makes sense for the actual level design, right? So it's really giving you what the castle will look like in the final game, color-wise especially. So that's nice. It also does, like this bit here, have a night section in the castle bit, which is cool, because you don't really get anything in the final game that has a night section within the castle. You get it outside of the castle, you don't get it inside of it, really. So that's cool. Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much all I can say for the useful side of it. It's a fun challenge. I think this is quite fun. If I was in the queue at E3 back in the days, queuing up for a demo, then I'd probably go back and play this again multiple times. I'm pretty bad when it comes to those sort of things. I just sort of lie that I've already played it beforehand. But yeah, it's not like I played Zombie Army 4 back at EGX whooping 10 times and just lied that I've been up there multiple times. But yeah, no, it's great. I think I would definitely love to go back up and keep playing it. I would also like to add that a fun factor of this is Lockhart, because this is, you know, the game that is about Lockhart. Lockhart's not in any of the other games, right? So this is really showing you Lockhart in his prime, his full here. You get to hear the voice actor for Lockhart, which is a really good voice actor, I might add. And you get to hear a load of the jokes and stupid sort of stuff that Lockhart will say in the final game. And a nice thing in this demo, which is the same in the other demo, I might add, that you get in this that is not in the final game, and I'm not sure why it's not, is when you cast at some of the Lockhart statues, you can get beans from them, and you get a quote from Lockhart about giving students beans. And you don't get this in the final game, which I think is a real shame. Really cool stuff, that. I like that. That's such a shame that didn't make it into the final game. But yeah, no, I love Lockhart. He makes this challenge even more fun, to be honest. It's just a ball of entertainment. If you want to make it even better, put Peeves in it. But yeah, anyway. So difficulty-wise, is the challenge difficult? Not really. It's not really meant to be that difficult, in my opinion, because again, it's an E3 demo. You don't want to kind of do a Dark Souls, if you like, and knock away all your player base at an E3 demo and say, yeah, the game's really difficult. You're not going to want to play this. So yeah, it helps that you make it decent and somewhat easy for everyone, if you like. It has its challenges here and there, but not a lot. Visually, it looks great. I think it looks absolutely fine. It shows you what Hogwarts will look like in the final game. Fine. Perfect. That's all I need. And then audio-wise, it gives you a taste of what you're going to experience in the final game for the audio. And that is always a good thing, rather than just putting in audio that will not actually be present in the final game. So I'm glad that they actually kept the proper audio in it. Good stuff. Otherwise, yeah, I think that's it. So, Phil, scoring time. Score. What are you going to score at?
Let's give it a 7. Go on.
Phil's giving it a 7.
Yeah. It's good. Yeah, I can't really, like, fault it in any way. Like, obviously it's a bit simplistic, but it's a demo. Yeah, like... And kind of visually, I think I prefer it to the Gryffindor challenge, so... I think I just like the warmness of it more, to be fair.
Yeah.
It's kind of difficult to give it a score because it's like it's not really.
Nice.
But like as a demo, yeah, it's good. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I can give it a score. It's close enough to a somewhat final-ish level, I guess. Yeah, I think, to be fair, I do really like this, and I actually prefer the E3 demos to quite a few of the bonus things in the actual final game.
Yeah.
So, like the Gold Wizard card, for example, and Quidditch and Duelling. So, yeah, I do really like these demos. So, this one specifically is a really solid demo level, and I think it gets across everything you would need to know for the final game. And just, if I was in the queue, like back in the days for this, I would be very excited for the final release of the actual game. Definitely. So, yeah, I think... score-wise, I'm going to give it probably a 7 as well.
Yeah.
Seems fair. I'm not sure it can go quite higher than that.
No. I mean, there's not loads to it, obviously, but what is there, I think, is nice and varied and good. Yeah.
Shame that there's no gnomes in this demo.
That's so true.
And there's no Peeves, which is a bit of a shame. But otherwise, it's doing its job.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that sums up this demo. And, yeah, chat-wise, what did chat people say? Lockhart's detention level, I like it. It's not quite a detention level, but fair enough. 8 out of 10. Yeah. There's HP as well as other HP games Alex plays. There is also HP themed emojis. Yeah, damn straight. Everyone loves HP themed emojis.
So true.
Right. Um, oh god, my throat is dying.
Don't worry, only one more to do. We can do this.
I know. I'm still looking through the chat quick, see what others might have said. For Pendo. Yeah, it sounds about right. Chamber of Secrets, it's all Lockhart's world and we're all just living in it.
That's so true.
You're right. You are right,
Kelsey. I wish he was here right now. Actually, maybe not.
That's probably not a great thing to wish. But yeah, fair enough. Question to Alex and Phil here. Are you in the game dev industry career-wise? So I was a game tester, yes. I was a game tester in Rocksteady Studios. Not anymore, but I was. As for Phil, he is a uni student.
Yeah, I'm doing a PhD. Soon you'll all be calling me Dr. Phil.
Oh no.
Not in anything to do with video games, unfortunately. But...
so yeah. Oh no, the context is gonna kill me with that. Right. So yeah, there's the question for you there. So yes, I have been in the games industry as a game tester, and Phil is a uni student.
Just likes games, yeah.
Just likes games, yes. But I do have a broad background of like loads of different games that I played and edited and try and fix and stuff like that as well. I'm like the person at this point who's known for fixing the Harry Potter series.
Yes.
So there you go. Yeah. Otherwise, anything else from people? Lockhart out of 10 for me. Yes, a Lockhart out of 10 for sure. And one more question to you guys. Tell us how you came to love Harry Potter and the games. You know what? I'll let Phil take the lead on this as I took the lead last time. Go on, Phil.
I mean, it's just kind of always been part of my childhood, right? Yeah, like I don't remember a time before there was Harry Potter. And I think we had the second one first, the PC game. We had the PS1 game of the first one. And then eventually got, a few of the rest, and now we're here. Yeah. And yeah, it's the kind of thing where it's like, Harry Potter's just always been part of my life. Because it just has been, yeah.
Fair enough. So that sums Phil's way up of HP. So for me, I started off with the book of Philosopher's Stone, or Sorcerer's Stone for you guys in America. So I started off with that. Really was interested by the story, of course, of Harry Potter. So I carried on reading the books, and when the film came along, I remember I was like super hyped as a little kid for that. That was quite fun. And I went and saw that with the family. That was great. And then game-wise was always hilarious because you might all know about the different versions of the games that exist for Harry Potter. So I remember when I was young and I was with my brother at that time when he was still living at home, we were trying to find the Philosopher's Stone game that we wanted to play. But of course, we didn't know which one was the right one as each one looked different from one another. So in the end, I remember distinctly sitting there with my brother and just going, should we just buy every single version? So we did.
And the rest was history.
We bought every version. So yeah, I ended up basically playing. I remember distinctly I played the PS1 and PC versions first at the same time. And then like the Game Boy and Game Boy Color. And then of course the PS2 version later on in the years. But yeah, I mean, like, the rest is kind of history for Harry Potter for me. I just sort of stuck with the series since then because I loved it. And game-wise, I was absolutely obsessed with it. Obviously, the games became a little bit debatable as you got further into the series. So, from really Goblet onwards for the most part. But, I still play them, and I still played them back then, and they were fine. But, yeah. I mean, the only ones that people who have been watching my stuff will know I'm not happy with and try and avoid at all possible is the Deathly Hallows. But other than that, yeah. So that's pretty much my background with Harry Potter.
Yeah.
I was a
Yeah,
little
should
kid.
we move on before you lose your voice?
I've already lost it, mate. It's fine. Yes. Anyway, cool. So I think we've told our life story now, which we were never going to do. I'm going to, as I'm being fair here, and be nice to you as you are the guest on this show. I will also let you go first for the final one.
You're so kind.
So,
I mean,
yeah,
let's go.
you are now doing the second demo, and again for you guys in the chat, you can basically again give a vote like of what you think the second demo looks like to you. If you played it, then you can vote straight away. But yeah, cool. Otherwise, it's the same for myself and Phil. So yeah, Phil, take it away.
Sure. Okay, so a lot of it is similar to the first demo, and there's a lot of different stuff as well. So it starts off kind of the same, where it teaches you the few basic bits at the beginning. It's a bit more difficult, I would say. There's the first time you meet the fire crabs, there's two at once, and then there's another time where two just come up from a pillar. There's loads of gnomes everywhere. There's like places you can fall down into like death pits. So there's a lot more difficult stuff going on for sure. I'd say it's pretty fun as well. Maybe slightly. I don't know if I'd say it's more fun. Maybe slightly, but they're both pretty similar, I would say. The bridge puzzle, there's this bridge puzzle bit where you stand on 3 pressure plates and the bits of the bridge come up differently. So that's kind of like a nice little puzzle. There's nothing too similar to that in the actual game at the end, actually. There's only a few secrets in this compared to the other demo, which is a bit disappointing, I suppose. Like, there's only like 3 or something. Yeah, but there's a bit more variety visually. You've got some like greenhousey bits and some outside bits. Even if the sky does look a bit naff nowadays, but it's still nice to have some variety and some lovely music again. I think some of the music maybe isn't in the final game. There's like the storybook song that's in the first game, which I don't think was in the final game in the end. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, that's basically my thoughts.
That's it. That's all you got to say. Fair enough. Okay.
I'm trying to remember. I mean, again, it's just like, I don't know. Well, you say, and I'll see if I can remember.
All right. So right off the back, I just want to make it clear that I know that a lot of people don't like the second demo as much as the first, and I can understand that. Personally, I prefer this one just because it's more challenging. But that's just because I like playing harder things usually a lot of the time anyway. I'm that kind of person. Obviously not too hard, but somewhat hard. So I quite like that. Again, how useful is the challenge overall? It teaches you a fair amount of the difficulty aspect, I think, for what you'll get in the final game. Is it as good as the previous demo for actually teaching the player like the core element aspects, if you like, of the actual final game? No, not really. It doesn't focus on that as much, this demo. It focuses a lot more on what players will experience in the more challenging parts of the final game, which is fine. That's why you kind of have 2 demos here, right? They're sort of teaching you different things. And I'm guessing the way they would have done this in the past is they would have had people play the first demo first, and then when they'd done that, they would have told them to go and play this demo, the second one afterwards. Probably. I'd be surprised if they didn't do that. So, yeah. I think it's useful in teaching players how difficult the game will be later on. It does teach you other things like here with the gnomes and so on, which is good too. That's pretty much about it though. It doesn't make use of all the different spells. It does, however, which is nice to see again, put in Spongify, I think, from my memory again. Might be wrong about that.
I don't remember. I literally played it earlier and I literally can't remember. I guess we'll find out watching it.
I think it does. I might be wrong, but I think it... I'm pretty sure it does. Maybe not. But yeah, so... Yeah, it's mostly useful. Is it fun? Yeah, I mean, it's nothing groundbreaking, of course. And would I call it as fun as the previous demo? If you like a challenge, yes. If you're just playing it for the sake of playing it, probably not as much. But yeah, I think it's fairly fun because I like it being difficult. Visual wise, visually, I will say this. This one section right here in this sort of like greenhouse looking room, I guess, with tons of lock art statues and that, looks really nice actually. And I like the night sky as well. I just think that looks really nice. Something I would have liked to have seen actually in the final game. It's a really nice looking room. And yeah, it's sort of combining kind of Professor Sprout's sort of design with lock arts, which is kind of neat. Other than that, I mean, it looks fine. It looks like Upper Hogwarts, so it does what it needs to do in that regard. But there's nothing else particularly visually stunning. Oh yeah, the other thing in regards to difficulty, I will just add regarding Phil's point about the chasm sort of dropping down to your death earlier. There's quite a bit more of that in this demo than there is in the previous one, so it's way more present here. Yeah, audio. It's again quite nice audio. Does it fit with the theme of what you're playing though in this demo? Not really. That's the one thing I will say about this demo. The music definitely doesn't really fit the theme of what you're actually playing, in my view. I don't know. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's just not quite right. It doesn't fit where it should be. I was trying to think of else. Like, I know you mentioned that there was a song that you thought wasn't in the actual final game in this, and I think you might be right. There's like a sort of point in it, I'm pretty sure, where it plays that theme that you hear when you sort of have the cutscene with Norbert and the Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that is at the end or something of this demo, which again is not in the final game, which is a shame, but at the same time, it's not exactly like a massive loss or anything. If you really want to hear that, go and play the first game.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, other than that, I think that really covers this challenge. I mean, it's a cool challenge. It's a much more difficult challenge than the previous demo, though. So, yeah, there you go. Off to you, Phil, for a score.
What did I give the last one?
7.
7. I would probably give this, I don't know, maybe like a 6 or a 7 or 6.5. I think I'd like it slightly less. I think it feels slightly less polished, I think, for some reason. I can't put my finger on it exactly, but it just feels a little bit less. I don't know. I think I prefer the first one slightly, yeah. So like 6.5-ish, I would say.
Alright, 6.5-ish.
Yeah. If I gave the last one 7, I would say this is like 6.5.
He's actually giving it a 0.5.
Oh, I'm like, I don't know. I can't really. It's a bit.
It's the first 0.5 you've ever given.
It's a tentative one at that.
Also, this window secret is awesome, I might add.
Yeah.
That is something that you don't see in the final game, and I like it. Also, the giant lock art picture is cool too. Yeah, so score-wise for me, now people are probably not going to like what I'm about to say, because I do prefer this challenge just generally compared to the previous one, mainly because it's more challenging. Like I said, it's more difficult, and that's what I quite like about it. But I kind of also like the fact that the secrets in this one, while there aren't as many and they are a bit more, I guess, obvious, they are actually quite awesome looking secrets when you find them. They just look way more interesting than the previous demos. So yeah, for me, I'm actually giving this a this is quite high. I'm giving this an 8.
Oh wow, Jesus.
I'm being nice because this is actually quite a fun demo.
Fair, yeah.
I would have loved to play this bazillion times back at E3. So yeah, there you go. We have
There we go.
officially got through the entirety of the Chamber of Secrets.
Wow.
Somehow
what a
my
trip.
voice has not died. So yeah. Well, it's dying, but it's not fully died, which is good. Just see what other people scored it. Oh my god. Also, I saw that there was a question about Hogwarts Legacy up top. I would love to answer it, but my throat is not going to accept that. So,
Yeah.
if you want to know my views on Hogwarts Legacy, then I'll either say it in another stream at some point, or, well, to be honest, I've said it so many times now. Just look at some of my past streams if you really want to know the answer, or even somebody who has been in a past stream that knows the answer might be willing to tell you. I don't know about Phil when it comes to Hogwarts Legacy. He might want to, I don't know, share something now.
I have no faith that it's going to be good, but I'm hoping it will be good. Because it's, it's been delayed so many times, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not a great sign. I hope it's good, obviously, but you never know with games nowadays. They're either going to be boring, or really buggy, or great, and you just don't know. So yeah, that's my vague thoughts. Yeah, could be really good. Could be rubbish. Who knows? Don't know. Just don't know. I feel like I don't have much faith in AAA games nowadays being any good. So
you don't have faith in anything, mate.
No.
It's Dr. Phil. Just reading some of these. So Roboto said second demo shows some of the stuff that was missing from the first one. Yep. Which is nice. Love the gardenish bits. Yep. Which shows, which should come even as no surprise. Yeah, I mean everyone loves gardens, right? Except for me when it comes to hay fever. I hate them, but otherwise, yeah, they're great. Yeah, especially the greenhouse with the gnomes. Yes, definitely.
Someone said plus it's not EA. That's true.
What? Hogwarts Legacy?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it might not be EA. That doesn't mean anything.
That's true.
Not really.
What does EA do anymore?
What do? They make FIFA.
Is that it?
Well, they make other things, of course, but they make FIFA mostly.
Yeah. Because, EA does that. Activision just does bloody Call of Duty.
Well, actually, Activision is being bought now, so
that's true.
They'll be making hopefully multiple games.
Take a couple of years until the completion, but I'm hoping
that's fine.
Microsoft buying it will do something.
Honestly, I feel like it will do a lot, and hopefully it'll mean that we'll actually get a lot more of the other franchises other than COD. It would also be really nice if we could get a Guitar Hero game with all of them put into one and then just keep adding to that. That would be great. I would like to be able to play a more modernized Guitar Hero game. That'd be good. Oh, it's the flying bit. Yeah, otherwise we've got 8.5 out of 10 just for the night sky. Fair enough. 8 out of 10. Nice puzzly challenge. Beautiful designs. Yeah, and I think that's pretty good. I think that sums it up for most people. Cool. So, you all know the pain that we have been through. Well, maybe not Phil, but I have been through with my voice. So
physical pain for you.
It's hurting my throat. But anyway, we have made it through the Chamber of Secrets. If you didn't see the Philosopher's Stone live stream that we did of this, which is probably a hell of a lot shorter, but yeah, if
actually,
you didn't see
check.
that,
I'll check.
Well, I'll Phil checks that. If you didn't see that, then it should be linked down in the description, I hope. If not, then you can find it on my channel in my live streams playlist. And yeah, we went through all the challenges in Philosopher's Stone in that one. and did the same sort of thing with basically comparing them and scoring them and so on. So if you missed that and you want to check that out, then feel free to do so. Otherwise,
it was 2 hours 40, so actually not that much shorter, like half an hour.
Really?
Yeah, apparently.
I'm impressed.
Same.
Cool.
Anyway.
So yeah. Anyway, this was Chamber. Chamber is obviously the game that everyone loves, and it's the one that we all wanted to make sure did pretty well in score-wise. So yeah, it did fine. And we have one more part left to this series, which is, of course, The Prisoner of Azkaban for PC. So that will be the next one that will be coming up in the future for a live stream. Hopefully I won't have a dead voice for that one. That would be nice. And yeah, well, we'll be putting up all the stuff that we'll be going through for that as well, so you guys can see some of the different levels that we'll be looking at, as well as some of the bonus stuff we're looking at in that one too. Other than that, I'm not sure exactly when we're going to do that yet, but we will definitely keep you posted on that front. Hopefully the gap won't be quite as long as it was between Philosopher's Stone and this one. I do again apologise for that gap being pretty big, but we'll try and make sure.
Gotta keep them waiting, keep them.
Yes,
keep
them
guessing.
waiting, of course. But no, we'll try and make the gap between this one and Prisoner a bit less. We'll see what we can do. But yeah, it was quite a big gap for the previous one. Anyway, if you do want to keep up to date, of course, like I said, with all the stuff regarding these live streams and anything that we might do in the future together, because, you know, Phil was a doctor and he's partnered with me now. He's under my practice. And, yeah, keep an eye on our channels, of course, our social media stuff on Twitter and so on, and also our Discords. So we'll always be posting updates on what we're doing together and so on in those. And of course, please do go check out Phil, who's been awesome being on another one of these today, of course, and is the first person to give a 10. He's the only one so
I know.
far. The only one. We'll see if the Joker actually ends up giving a 10 at all in this stream series. We'll find out. But yeah, if you want to go and check out Phil, which please do, he does some awesome game review things, which are a load of fun and great. They're a good laugh, basically. And we did a very fun one for Fellowship of the Ring, which I know he really appreciates.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want to...
What a game.
Yeah, what a game indeed. It's got Fish Sword in it. What more do you want? So, yeah, if you want to check out some of his stuff, then his channel is linked down in the description of the stream. So please do go and, you know, check out some of his stuff that support him. It'd be awesome if you do. And of course, likewise, if you want to look at any of my stuff, then my channel is linked down in the description. If you want it, you know, easy access for it, there you go. Otherwise, yeah, I think we'll probably leave it there. So thank you everyone, of course, for coming along and being a part of the stream today. And yeah, well, we will both see you in the future. See you later.
Bye-bye.